fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same songs.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3 on the other side, but I can't clutch to it, and I can't clutch to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's fast. Dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 Chief with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him. And they call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage retrieval back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still performing extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out simply, tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact fall.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the lead, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move. Normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo Boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good depth running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage, they want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes through strong, but this switch is free firing in the backline. Good Death trying to stall time for his 80 carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and the series. It seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts, because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen Recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up.
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, there was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same songs.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3 on the other side, but I can't clutch to it, and I can't clutch to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's fast. Dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 Chief with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him. They call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage retrieval back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane.
Hi everybody. Welcome to Risen Week 7 of Premade Dominate. I'm your host, Haru, and we are here with the casters, Kameka and Krems. And today, how are you doing, both of you?
Well, I'm doing
Well,
perfectly good. How about yourself?
Very, very good. Thank you. What about you,
yeah,
Krems?
yeah, I'm doing all right. I had my cast yesterday. Just subbing in for today, guys, is just temporary. Just holding down the fort for someone else to take over.
Oh yeah, well, we appreciate your help, Krims, and we are getting that they're ready and in draft, so we will be back with the analyst desk. Well, I will be back. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, we're wasting pretty much zero time whatsoever in getting into the draft here, Crims. And so looking at these different picks that they've been picking recently, I would definitely expect to see a Hecarim picked or banned, a Shen picked or banned, and probably a Bard picked or banned, just judging by
Yeah,
Barro's support's name.
yeah. I'm looking Bardo. He's got a nice KDA on that Bard. Doesn't mean it's gonna work in competitive play. I believe we've seen it at Worlds, and it's a hard pick to pull off. Not necessarily the easiest thing to do. However, if you're really good at champion, might as well pick your best sometimes. So Bard, and look, if someone ever has a name, even like Stet, I know it doesn't say Set, but maybe you just don't want to risk it.
Yeah, I mean it is very close to the name Set, and we all know that Set got a little bit of a indirect buff because Aatrox got a little bit of a debuff. So I wouldn't be too super surprised if he picked Set top because he is a top laner after all. And there you
Yeah,
go. We're gonna be seeing Bard banned first, followed up by Seraphine very quickly. So no Bardo support today.
yeah, and I think the Seraphine ban is just very smart on red side. I think that's a huge mistake a lot of teams make by letting that just fall through. And or even if you're on blue side and you don't pick it, I mean, what are you doing? So good bans all around. GP, another target ban as the Sivir being removed. Very strong late game AD carry. And so this is looking like good bans overall and a couple target bans actually. So looking like full teams doing their research here.
Yeah, I think Oblivion eSports, if they're going to be looking to target the jungler early, I would expect Hecarim to be banned because that's all that Volleyfox has been playing these last few games. I do believe. I looked at all of his recent games and they're all Hecarim, all wins. So I was very much expecting to see that be knocked out. And yeah, honestly, fallback players, I'm not too sure what they're going to be picking for that. If I had to guess, they're probably going to be picking out one of the mid laners as well as maybe like Maokai or something like that.
Yeah, okay, here we go. So with those target bans, a power pick is let through the Maokai. Super strong engaged champion. I prefer it in the jungle. I don't know about you because the laning phase of Maokai is just super weak. And that Aatrox that you were talking about is one of the best champions into Maokai in the lane phase.
Yeah, I wouldn't be super duper surprised if it was Maokai jungle, especially with how many better top laners there are compared to Maokai. You also want to have him be as effective as possible, bringing his ult to all the different lanes instead of just having it help him in the top lane.
Yeah, and here we have the Graves pick. Very strong, absolute monster in solo queue for quite a while, and in the recent patches has seen a jump up in that win rate here. Misfortune of Mumu, we have the deadly bot lane combo, and Cassiopeia blind pick is very interesting pickup here. So LiT eSports looks like they're gonna have a very strong team fighting comp.
Yeah, last time I'm a little bit cautious of the Cassiopeia with the blind pick because the last time I saw Cassiopeia be picked, it did not go too overly well. I think it was up against the Zed as well, so that was
that's not a good pick. Not
yeah,
a good
especially
matchup there.
Especially if they leave too many assassins open. It looks like they are going to be banning out the Shen. That's a target ban at their top laner. He's got so many good Shen games and he's really strong right now, so I'm not super surprised at that.
Yeah, Shen is really strong if you cannot punish it properly in the top lane, and it allows teams to make those extreme global plays. So from the side of Oblivion eSports here, they have themselves decent team fight. They don't have the best engage in the world. Renata is mostly a disengaged champion or counter engaged champion. So if they're going to want to have some, engage options of their own, they're gonna have to pivot in the draft. Removing Ornn as well is just a huge engaged champion. They might just end up honing in on the counter engage identity here.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a path that they could be going down. LiT, just looking at what is left up. Do they double down on going for the top laner? I think it's quite possible that they could be doing that, or are they going to target the ADC? ADC target makes a lot of sense here. You don't want to be having like a super duper, scaly champion towards the late game accompanied by Renata, because you're going to be keeping her nice and safe to where she can get to that end, even if you do have the Amumu and Misfortune, combination here, because yeah, that's something that you want to be at least taking out the Jinx, who can not only do really good in the damage department, but also the siege.
All right, I'm not excited if that is a Lucian pick. They're gonna go with Xayah. So yeah, they're really honing in on this counter engage. Xayah, Renata, Cassiopeia, even Graves. These are all champions that do really well if you just run straight into them. Unfortunately, Maokai and Mumu, some of the best engaged champions, if they do hit the CCs, it's going to be that skill matchup. Can you dodge the ultimates coming out from LiT Esports? If they do, they're going to be in a really good spot, because it's looking like full engage versus full counter. Swain, I know you like the Swain pick here, but I'm looking at what's across on the other side. Xayah, Cassiopeia, Renata. That's looking tough, though.
Yeah, it's true. Cassiopeia can be a difficult matchup for Swain. I know that because I'm a Swain main myself, but I love seeing me some Swain picks. There's a lot you can do with him. He gives you a lot of vision on the map as well with his W, his Eye of the Empire. And so if you ever want to see, hey, is my opponent going for the Rift Herald, and we don't have a whole lot of, info in the jungle, you can just throw up your W and instantly see what's going on there. In the team fights, he can be an absolute menace, especially when he gets his Zanya's Hourglass. He is definitely a power pick here, in my opinion, if he's pulled off right.
Here is the set angle. Are they gonna go for it? It's open. They have the Aatrox available to counter here. And oh wait, hold up. This is not in the game plan. Teemo. I am okay. Okay, they're gonna go with the Malphite. The Malphite is going to be that more scaly matchup, and they do eventually draft some engage for themselves. Malphite going to get beat up by this Aatrox. Like, this Aatrox is the king of the top lane at the moment, but if you outscale it on this Malphite, you're going to have really good effectiveness against this Misfortune, and it's going to be rough in these team fight scenarios. That being said, both these teams, look, I think both the drafts are pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you on that. A lot of engage as well as mostly counter engage from Oblivion eSports, and that kind of is counter to what LiT eSports wants to be doing with their Maokai and Amumu picks. Swain, he can also really help out once the engage is done, so I think that Swain could very well have a hard time up against Oblivion with this comp.
Yeah, I think Swain is either going to have to get like a second item Zonia's, which very much stunts the damage of any champion in this stage. And so I'm having a tough time seeing how Swain's going to survive. Misfortune's going to have plenty enough range. If the Malphite ult is used, should be okay. And then Maokai on the side, that is the best engaged champion in the game right now. And if maybe Cassiopeia or even Renata get caught up before their ultimates come out, that is going to be an opportunity for Misfortune and Mumu to lay down the CC and damage. So for the side of LiT Esports, I'm really leaning towards this Aatrox lane. It's their strongest lane by far, especially pre-6. And I think it's an angle for them to take over the game, at least in the early phases.
Yeah, I can agree with that. This bot side definitely is something that you have to be a little bit cautious of as well, especially when you do hit 6 for Oblivion eSports. Like, both teams have got like a lot of strong engage, counter engage here, but again, you mentioned the skill matchup here. Xayah, you can get some solid roots off, but Amumu, it's a lot easier to get just the hard CC chains going on here, and that combined with the Misfortune ult, I would be very surprised if we didn't see them pushing for the early level 2, and not only the early level 2, but like the early level 6, and just go in hard for these guys.
Yeah, I think Misfortune and Amumu win 1 through 3 solid, because just Amumu's double stun setup is so strong at level 1 all the way up to level 3, and it just is crazy in the lane phase. But in the team fights, Renata Glass, Xayah, these two champions, not only does Renata set up Xayah so well, but if you two over engage on any of these champions, it could just completely wipe the team fight in favor of Oblivion eSports here.
Yeah, you gotta mind those feather placements, absolutely. So,
Yeah, it definitely gives LiT
Yeah.
eSports a little bit of something to think about when they are doing these hard engages that you mentioned.
Yeah, you know, I think for LiT eSports, they have the best flank angles. I think you don't want Swain actually to be in the front line, as we were talking about. He's just gonna die. So the flanking Swain, something we don't often see because he doesn't have like the best engage. But maybe with a Ghost coming in on a flank angle, that's where I think they're gonna find effectiveness with the Swain. Renata, Glaska, and Zai really want everyone to come from one side, one angle in the 5v5 front to back. But if Swain and Aatrox are coming around the side, that's really going to give them a tough time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally expecting a Mumu to, here's pretty much what I'm expecting here. A Mumu goes in, gets the first engage for them, and then Swain goes in with the Ghost, pops ult, and if he starts to get a little bit too weak, pops his Zhonya's, uses Conqueror to get himself back up to basically a very sizable amount of health, and then just burns them all the way down. Demonic Embrace also got a little bit of a tweak to where now it does a little bit more AP damage instead of giving him some more health. So I think that that's something that Swain could use to do a little bit more damage than he normally would with a demonic build. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be looking for that top lane. In my opinion, that's going to be the most exciting lane for LiT. On the other end, this mid lane, Cassiopeia, I think needs to be set up for a good game.
True. I think that we're going to definitely be seeing Graves giving her a little bit of a visit early on with this Swain. But, ladies and gentlemen, we will find out if our predictions are going to be correct or not and how this game is actually going to be going out. We know how it's going to go in theory, but is that how it's actually going to turn out in actuality? Doesn't always seem to work out like that, but we'll see just how accurate we are when we come back from this break. Don't go anywhere.
Back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up,
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last. Dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 keep with good depth, does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him, and they call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage to Treble back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still performing extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out simply, tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the ace, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
Normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo Boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters. And then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good depth running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is a lot has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes through strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Field Death trying to stall time for his AD carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series, it seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up, come on,
I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last, dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 teeth with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him. And the call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage to Tribal back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a team fight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still performing extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out simply, tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact fall.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the game, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo Boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good depth running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes through strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Field Death trying to stall time for his AD carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series, it seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up, come on,
I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't punch to it. But Boxer Crow in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last, dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 teeth with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him. And the call comes back in the circuit, flip finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage to Tribal back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly,
They
still
find
performing
Akali.
extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out simply, tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the game, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
Normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo Boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good depth running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes too strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Field Death trying to stall time for his 80 carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series. It seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts, because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a
Wake
bang,
up.
Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up.
But
Come on,
I
come
gotta
on.
say, he was
Go.
smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't punch to it. But Boxer Crow in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last, dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 teeth with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him. And the call comes back in the circuit, flip finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage to Tribal back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still
find
performing
Akali.
extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out simply, tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that. The dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the lead, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
Normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good death running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The deathball comes too strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Good Death trying to stall time for his AD carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series. It seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts, because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up,
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before his last dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 keep with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him, and they call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage retrieval back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still performing extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out simply, tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything, as we're talking about that. The dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the lead, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
Normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good death running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes through strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Field Death trying to stall time for his AD carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series, it seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts, because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up,
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v3 on the other side, but I can't clutch to it, and I can't clutch to it. But Boxer Cruel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before his last dies, and Chicken Fried Rice to escape with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him, and they call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage to Treble back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still
find
performing
Akali
extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out, simply tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. After a little bit of an extended break, we are back with Oblivion eSports versus LiT eSports. I am Kamiko, joined by Crims.
Yeah, and well, that was quite the break, but I believe we finally figured out some of these issues here. As both teams had a little bit of a skirmish, and Island picks up a CS kill on a ward. Aatrox already in the lead.
Yep, pretty strong start for Aatrox, I do have to say, but it doesn't look like anything crazy is going to be going on besides that. Xayah and Renata just proxying up a little bit, seeing what they can find, but I don't think they're really going to be finding too much. It's going to be a very, very careful start, but good vision being gained by Swain, the master of vision, as I like to call him.
That is aptly named there. So both junglers starting on opposite sides. They're trying to shake up different lanes. I think Fox going for the top lane gank on the Aatrox is a smart idea. It's a good game plan. Not only does Aatrox have good setup, as well as being very strong in the lane, you definitely want this Aatrox to be the one in the lead on that top side.
Yeah, and so Renata already getting a little bit visioned on, but ooh, Aatrox doing a little bit of damage, but I mean the poke early on is going to be pretty good for Stet. He should be able to outrange Aatrox at least for the first little bit until he gets to level 2 with the dash.
Yeah, and that's when level 3 is when the full Aatrox combo is unlocked here. Bot side getting pushed in, and this means that they definitely cannot go for that level 1 fight, as well as the level 2. Gonna have to bide their time. Smelvin getting good trades down on the Swain, as both junglers are yet to pull the trigger on anything at this moment.
Yeah, but that little ward placed by Swain early on is going to give them some great information. They know exactly where Graves is right now, whereas Maokai, they're not going to be as certain of his position just yet, although they can probably predict that he made his way up for his full clear on the blue.
Yeah, the Graves full clear is also pretty easy to call, and actually like starting up with the red, with the slow, helps Graves clear with basically taking no damage, and you can see Headhunt basically full HP here. Azrael finding moments to strike back against this Cassiopeia because, well, it was looking really rough at level 2.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to be fine. He can get some good sustain off, assuming that he can keep on hitting those EQ combos. He gets health, bonus health, and regenerated health every single time he gets one of those. So Swain actually has a lot of sustain most people don't realize.
Yeah, I think it's one of those conditional sustains here.
Yeah.
As we have Follow Fox kind of invading here. This is going to give away a lot of information. They're going to know Graves is definitely on the bot side, and they're going for this gank.
Oh, and they should definitely be able to get another get over here from Swain. Maokai actually knocks her out of distance for Swain to hit it.
Wait, a sap
Just
blade.
going to flash right on in, though, and secure the kill. So it will be first blood in the hands of Maokai.
Yeah, Maokai gets the first blood. Not where you want it, but definitely going to take that first blood. And since Cassiopeia doesn't have the TP, this is going to be a bigger punish than usual. However, Azrael has to play safe.
Oh, yes, in the top, he has to play safe, too. Gonna try and get a little bit of a slowdown on him, but he is dead as a freaking doornail here, my friend. There's nothing that he can really do here, except for try to get a little bit of CS, but Stet might be dying up top, too.
Oh,
actually turns and burns on him. Aatrox got full Conquer up, so does have to respect this a little bit. Stet also a little bit low on the mana department, but, I mean, that's still very worth it in this situation for Stet, even though he's not going to be able to farm these minions as effectively.
Yeah, the blue buff as well. Thank God the red didn't go over. Okay, that's going to be good
You might be able to
chains.
finish him off right now. Slam dunk for IQ Island. No longer worth it for Stet as he now falls suit to death as well.
Yeah, should have probably played the poke game a little bit more before going in for all that CS. And Island punishes accordingly. TP burned on the top side. No red buff being transferred, but the blue is going to make its way onto the Aatrox. Trying to get this wave in. And Set's probably going to do all he can to stop this and ruin a perfect back for Island here. That being said, 2 and 2 on the map. Both teams striking. And Headhunt gets that kill in the mid lane. So that's actually going to save Smelvin a little bit on the mid lane wave. As well as Bardo support picking up.
Oh, here he goes
we go again. Round
hitting
2.
Her properly into the pole this time and baiting out the
misses
pole.
Q.
To make sure that they can get maximum stunning on her. Popping this Conqueror, but ooh, not enough damage, just barely to take down Smelvin completely to secure the kill, but still going to force her out of lane. This should allow Swain to pass her on the CS.
All right, going in for the kill.
Going to have to expend the smite just to stay alive. Swain now coming in to give a little bit of assistance, but the dash is going to be up here. Swain taking quite a little bit of damage here, and Headhunt just regaining a lot of health. Stet coming up to give his 2 cents as well. Gonna try and stun him up here. And ooh, there you go! Swain with the sustain once again and gets level 6 after that. So Stet does have to respect this once again. It is going to be a wash in the favor of LiT.
Yeah, the double pull from the Swain, extending that CC. Nicely done. It looked like Stet was really going to turn that around and give Headhunt another kill. As this Maokai needs to dodge an auto. That's going to drop the... Oh, that is unfortunate. The patience bar getting the better end of Fox. As bot lane getting shoved in yet again. But this time, it's going to be in the favor of LiT.
Yeah, also his own health bar. If he took one more auto in an auto v auto trade, I think that Gromp would have beaten him, even though he's Maokai, which is funny to say. But... yeah, some good vision over on this Dragon, as well as some good mid and bot side prio. This should be some good conditions for a Dragon if LiT really want to take it right now.
All right, Island not going for the Eclipse build. I think that is a bit interesting, going for the Gore Drinker here. Not as much melees as you would like for that Gore Drinker effectiveness, but definitely gonna be tankier in the long run. And this Graves is definitely out power farming the Maokai. Look at this CS difference already. And that's just Graves, baby.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised that I'm out farming him. He's got so much mobility, and it looks like Graves is actually going for the Gory Drinker as well. Fox trying to give a little bit of assistance, and Swain zoning him off with the W once again so that Bardo can't easily get away from here. Has to get the flash. And so, once again, this is going to be making it so that Oblivion is less likely to go for them on the Dragon now.
So far, I'm liking how they're utilizing the Maokai. As you said, expected not to out-farm on this Graves, but look at this gank coming in. Headhunt has the red buff.
Oh yeah, and the Unstoppable Force coming in here is now... but, I mean, IQ going to be able to get out of there, has to expend his own ult as well, so it's an ult for an ult and a Dragon. So, I mean, Graves going to be nowhere near for that. Might be able to just get some good farm going on in his opponent's jungle, though, with that info.
Yeah, I'm afraid that that should have been a kill up in the top side. So Island getting out that's going to be considered an outplay in my mind. As Cassio is getting zoned away. 2 ganks in a row is definitely going to change that. As the Dragon is that Air Drake. Still going to be giving extra movement speed to this Maokai. That's a good deal if you ask me.
Absolutely. And I mean, Graves is still nowhere near, sorry, not closer to being able to get control over this Rift Herald either. So they're really looking for a gank on Azrael. He's been doing a pretty good job of keeping himself alive so far. He's still got the teleport. So if he can manage to get out of here, he doesn't have the flash, but he doesn't necessarily need it. All he's got to do is just keep himself alive. Gore Drinker, though, coming in. He is absolutely dead. Going to try and yank them back in for another one so that IQ can come in and have a little bit of fun time. But unfortunately, it goes a little bit wide. So Swain will die for nothing in return.
Yeah, Ezreal had enough mana for the ultimate, but nothing else. And ended up just being just a very scary chicken for quite a few seconds. And now, as we're just looking at the development of who's getting ahead.
Oh? Looking for an instant reply up in here for Swain. Ult coming out now. Hits it barely with the Nature's Grasp. Knocks her right back on in, but just not quite close enough for Swain to hit him with the E. So once again, Cassiopeia getting forced out of lane.
I was about to say, we're seeing a lot of ganks mid lane, but I think Graves is so far the benefactor, and that's mostly because Smelvin dodging 2 ganks as well as Azrael dodging a gank, and it does go down eventually, though. So both of these junglers having heavy gank focus in this mid lane is an interesting development.
Yeah, what it does give them, though, is the ability to be not only that because they keep ganking mid lane, but because bot lane's doing so good, they've been able to get a lot of these objectives. They've got Prio in mid and top, and once he finishes up that Gromp, I'm sure that they're going to be looking to take control over this Rift Herald.
Yeah, biggest goal difference is Headhunt on the Graves, and that's just the CS you can see there. So Graves does do very well into Maokai in the early stages of the game. It's going to be on Violet Fox to find some more ganks to outweigh that CS deficit, as well as building a good engage in the next objective fight. Rift Herald going to go uncontested, and that's going to be a potential gold difference in the future here. They're going to have to utilize it wisely as multiple members come to finish it off. Rift Herald is going down, and now we have to ask ourselves, where is it going to be placed? Who's going to be the benefactor of this rift?
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking about asking you that myself. If I had to answer it myself, I would assume that they're going to be putting it bot lane because that's where the least amount of action's been happening, except for Renata's 2 assists. So you can give your bot lane a little bit of a winning chance. That's just my opinion, though.
I think bot lane is decent. I think it's just whoever has the best setup, to be honest. And mid lane's going to be rough because it's just no one really has amazing push just yet. They need more AP. And there's a lot of focus there, so you definitely don't want Graves to match you and ruin the Rift Herald, because you want to get more than 2 plates. All right, I know 2 plates is that's the minimum, as we have an invade here, and if they do win this fight, that's going to be a good Rift Herald setup.
They're going to be investigating, but Curiosity kills the cat sometimes, and Swain going in with a Demonic Ascension.
Oh, the Graves damage.
Oh my god, what an enormous disaster that was, not even getting close to a kill on anybody besides Renata. Yeah, Renata ult just getting them out of jail free card. So, yeah, that's going to be a rough one for the Swain Maokai run.
You can see what happens when Swain and evidently Maokai play in that snare ult range of the Renata Xayah. It's not pretty, folks, and you can see it right there. That being said, there was no MF or a Mumu to even up that situation. It was a 4v2, so there's a lot more burst damage than you would expect. But that might just be a bit of a preview into the future. We'll have to see. But that Graves, now 3-1. Great head start in the game. And that damage is already piling on.
Yeah, that could very well be a huge turning point. The kill on both the Swain and the Maokai allows Graves to even further extend his already massive jungle lead. And it allowed Cassiopeia to go for a roam. Eventually it was caught, but it still gave her the possibility for that.
All right, well, now that's going to shrink this timing window for a good Rift Herald. There's only 1 minute and 15 left, and they're going to be forced to use it. Graves, Headhunt making the read. It's coming bot side. Very well pathing from this jungler. Just has to make sure Rift doesn't get anything off. And that's going to be a win for them. 2-level lead on this Graves versus the Maokai. That's huge.
Yeah, so it seems like they're just gonna opt to go for this dragon hit as well. Aatrox now coming down to try and give some support for the mid lane prio, as Cassiopeia looking to join the fight now as well. Really thinking about it. Dragon getting pretty dang low, and it doesn't look like Graves is too overly enthusiastic about taking it, so that's gonna be another dragon uncontested into the hands of LiT.
Okay, they are making a big recovery in this objective pickup. I believe that's 3 out of 3 so far. We'll see if they get the next Rift Herald. And that means that they have a nice dragon stack going. So at some point, they're going to have to contest this on the side of Oblivion. They are up in gold. And look at this uncontested Rift Herald. They do get it off. And look at this window. It's only 10 seconds left, and they manage to make it worth it.
Yeah, that's rough. Bot lane backed, and they're going to have absolutely no way of contesting this. They're going to get it down to just like one plate left, and ooh, what they're trying to respond with is another get out of jail free card. Ult coming in here from Aatrox. Looking like he's going to be able to get out of here and do damage all along the way, so yeah, it's going to be absolutely nothing being gained for this, and they might lose even more. The Amumu's Curse of the Sad Mummy, as well as all the ults coming in now. Bardo might be dead as a Dornell. Turret plates gonna be absolutely gone. Folly Fox gonna be, you know, just taking all the turret shots necessary for them, and they will be able to finish off with the first turret as well.
All right. They stay around and bait the minion wave to get the first turret of the game. That's going to be extra gold in their pockets. And they score themselves a clean gold lead here. Topside, they're trying to make it happen, but so far this Aatrox dodging so many ganks, it's not working.
Yeah, he is very hard to gank, just in my personal experience. Not only can he dash around, but ooh, Swain looking to come in here for a little bit of help. He might be getting a little bit caught out here, Headfunt, but does manage to get it at the end of the day. So the worth factor is going to be completely gone here. Oh, nice one coming in there from the Petrifying Gaze of Cassiopeia. Azrael getting a little bit hit upside the head, and there is no win condition for them in this fight. So they're just going to be backing right on out and having to give up the Gromp.
All right, as the resident Swain expert, we see a first item from Swain already, and it's not a mythic. Oh, we have a team fight first, though.
I'm a little bit surprised at that, to be totally honest with you, but we'll get back to that in just a second. Headhunt, he's going to be getting a little bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card here, potentially, if he is able to get a kill, but he can't. Bounce shot coming over the wall and hitting Malphite long distance for the win. And ooh, Renata going to be getting a little bit pushed on here as well. That's a lot of damage from one auto from dead botting. So Bardo, he is just going to be trying to kite this out as much as possible, but that, at the end of the day, is going to be a massive amount of kills in the hands of LiT.
Yeah, so dead botting out of nowhere in just a couple of minutes. Picks up 5 kills, gets a full turret as well, and assists just to top it off. 500 gold bounty. This gold came out of nowhere, is 1,300 up on Youngling to boot. This MF just got jump-started into a carry role right here.
Yeah, and back to your point about what Swain decided to go for his first item. Usually you do typically go for Leandries as a first item. Rylai's is something that you can definitely go like second or third depending, and we'll get back to that in just a second. But as Island's getting a little bit hit upside the head, trying to proxy him off the turret. But yeah, the idea behind the Rylai's for Swain is the fact that every single time you catch someone in your ult, it is going to be slowing them no matter what, so it makes it very hard for them to get out of the ult, and it allows you to extend it basically forever.
Yeah, I wonder if they go to the support Swain build. That could be interesting.
Yeah, it's really nice, especially if you have cheap shot, because technically you're proccing cheap shot all the time, so it gives you a lot of nice extra damage.
What's
but
the
I don't
cooldown
think he
on
has
cheap
it on
shot?
right now.
Oh, that's a bit disappointing. I mean, if the cooldown was low enough, it would be certainly worth it. Youngling being forced to ultimate here.
Yeah, and it's going to be completely missing, unlike all the other ults, and Mumu going to be the one that gets the final shot on there. Probably would have liked to get that kill for himself there, Misfortune, but already pretty fed, so I'm sure you can just kick one over to Mumu and not feel too bad about it.
Okay, 4 out of 4 for neutral objectives if they pick up this Rift Herald clean. That is a complete steamrolling, if you ask me. With a 3k gold lead on top, this is a good showing. And man, if they can keep doing this in the series, it's going to be pretty much lights out for Oblivion. And now, the junglers have to concise around this dragon. 30 seconds. This is going to be a very important part of the game. Who gets this dragon? Does the stacking continue, or will it be thwarted?
Well, I think that since they see Graves here, they're probably going to be looking to all stack up here. There's a lot of reason to be taking this fight for LiT. There's a lot to win and not a lot to lose. Your opponents, they've got a lot to worry about on these side lanes. You've got Prio and mid as well as pretty much everywhere else. So it's going to be very difficult for them to contest this dragon, but they pretty much have to at this point. No vision in this bush, though, so it's quite possible they could get a little bit of a kill onto MF here, getting her nice and caught out, and get the get-out-of-jail-free card again for Renata. So they're going to be able to get the engage when they want it and the disengage when they want it. So that's a great little way for them to get an advantage over this dragon.
Yeah, not clearing that bush proved to be extremely detrimental. Remember, MF has no escape as well, so just completely on their own and was just fodder for the damage. And that is going to be the dragon stacking being stopped here. They're going to be giving up mid-wave, but honestly, getting that third dragon so important, it might be well worth it. But 2 turrets? Maybe not so.
Yeah, this is going to be a good opportunity for them to punish. They're going to at least take a turret and get some damage onto the next one. They don't clear out that minion, so
wait, this is
Shelly is going to be able to get there in time, though. They're going for the red, though, and this might be a little bit greedy. It just depends on how Aatrox can turn things around. He's got his ult, Swain's got his ult, and in they go. Nature's Grass coming in. Azriel coming in with his ult as well. Demonic Ascension, but huge damage. MF ult bullet time on point, though. And, man, this is just going left, right, and center. Exhaust going down into the graves, and that will be getting his death secured well and truly. Xayah and Malphite forced to back on out of that, so overall pretty damn worth it there for LiT eSports.
LiT eSports are praying to the Hex Tech gods right now because there's no way they would have been able to make it that play without the gate. Dead Botting just running straight for that gate over the Baron pit. Makes it just in time to lay down a 4-man bullet time ultimate and turns that team fight around. That was pretty much on the edge for LiT throwing the game right there.
Yeah, although it seems like they're anticipating a go for Baron, so they're going to try and clear out as much intel as they possibly can. This is good vision control from Renata, going to be taking out quite a few wards and pretty much getting rid of all the vision except for one really important ward on the other end of the Baron pit. Oh, no, she actually finds that one as well with her control ward, so good stuff.
Yeah, completely cleaning out the jungle. Doing a good job. Gardener support in action. As, yeah, that Baron threat would certainly make it tough to get the next dragon. So they're going to have to make sure that that's not on the table. As we have a Hex Tech Soul for this game here. And that's honestly extremely powerful for the MF. The amount of damage that you can output with that Hex Tech Soul and the bullet time is insane. So both teams definitely are going to be thinking about that as they're going through the next minutes of this game. So far, 3K gold lead. It's not the biggest gold lead, but it does mean that there is an advantage for LiT. But as you can see, they're going to have to play it right. Dead Botting has no escape. There's no Thresh. There's no way for this AD carry to get out of bad situations. So they have to set up the map properly for this misfortune to carry.
Did get a little bit of vision on Folly Fox for just a second, just enough to get them safely away to where they're not going to be dying from that Nature's Grasp, but it's still going to be zoning them out, so maybe they're going to be thinking about going for a fight in this jungle. In my opinion, that would be a little bit risky, but maybe they're trying to make their opponents think that they're going for Baron. Obviously, they're not going to be thinking that because they just got a blue ward up in the Baron pit, though.
Yeah, a jungle fight would be a double-edged sword, because if they can catch Oblivion in a choke in a funnel, that's obviously really good for them. But if they get caught in the funnel, it also will apply negatively to them. So it's going to be really on those snap decisions to win that fight there. As you can imagine, a Malphite, Graves ultimate combo just absolutely decimates them. So they're playing with fire here as they're threatening this Baron setup. All right.
Yep, here we go. It's looking like there's not going to be too much contention coming out here. Graves might be tempted to go in for a steal, although he has absolutely no idea it's happening. He probably has an idea.
This is no contest.
But there's no way he can really go in for the contest. So, yep, LiT eSports now going to be getting pretty much every single one of these jungle objectives, barring that one Hex Tech Dragon.
They didn't even try to get control back of the jungle. They just completely threw it away. And that's going to lead into a Baron into the next dragon, as well as some turrets. I'm assuming this bot side, tier 2, shouldn't be standing much longer. They're going to be working their way over there. And now this game is in the hands of LiT. They have all the tools they need to take the victory here.
Yeah, it certainly is their game to lose. Maokai, they do have a little bit of intel on him, and he is a little bit alone, but there's no one quite there to capitalize on it just yet. No one really looking to die 40 seconds before this dragon pops, though.
Yeah, as soon as supports roll into that jungle, though, that's where we're going to see the vision war continue over on this dragon. And it looks like LiT have everything they need to complete that. It's going to be night out for Oblivion if they don't get this vision.
Yep, and it's looking like every single ward that they had is going to be completely and utterly gone, so they're going to have to go in blind there. Swain using the Unleashed Teleport to come in, clear the bottom wave, as well as participate in the upcoming fight. So, yeah, they are going to be getting pretty dang close to this. Good little hits coming in from the Cassiopeia, trying to single out the Maokai, but Nature's Grasp is still going to be landing, although not in a place where they can really capitalize upon it. So that is going to be a little bit of a wasted ult in their favor. Still full ultimates going into the hands of Oblivion if they do really need it. Renata might be getting caught out here, though.
Island.
She's got a proper Shirelli, otherwise she's going to be very screwed. Needs to keep that ultimate up for this fight that is coming up very, very soon. Folly Fox, in the meantime,
Oblivion playing it
quite a little
good.
bit of damage.
They have
looking
nice
pretty
spread.
Good. Looking pretty good. However, Aatrox getting forced off once again, just doing a lot of damage. Amumu coming in here, huge flash! Anyone ult for him? They are going to be doing the Renata ult, though, and it completely gets them out of here, though. Although, going to have to turn around. Cassiopeia now falling down as well. Stet taking an immense amount of damage, and he will not be able to survive this. Only survivor with, like, 10 HP is going to be Graves. So, does he dare try and go for this steal? I think the answer is no. Aatrox, he sees him, and he's on the hunt for him, so he's going to be effectively zoning him off, and will be slam dunking him here as well. Sway now coming in with a little bit of support as well. So, Headhunt, there's absolutely no way he's going to be surviving this scenario.
Oh, was that a flash? Yeah, definitely flashes in for the kill there. I have to say it looked a little bit shaky when they burned the Maokai ultimate just for disengage on Fox alone. But then once the team fight came around, as Oblivion pushed in, they just enveloped them into a trap. They wrap around on both sides. Island doing great, and now Azrael kind of trying to get out of a sticky situation.
Oh, yeah, there's no getting out of here for him. He is so dead. So, they do manage to catch one of the people with the Baron buff left alive, so that should give them a little bit of an easier time in dealing with it. Baron buff probably getting close to being done anyway, I would have to surmise. But, yeah, that's a key player to be getting off the table, especially if you want to be starting to make some counter pushes yourself.
Yeah, by the way, dead botting 3 items on this MF, so carry pants are on for sure now. This MF's going to be dealing tons of damage. And Set did try to stop the ultimate last time, but it didn't matter. Half a channel was good enough to win that team fight.
Oh, Headhunt looking to be getting caught out here as well. Teammate's going to try and get in
ult
here.
hit.
Nice little ult collateral damage coming in as well. Living Phoenix getting caught in. Going to have to pop the Zhonya's as well as his ultimate as well. Stet going to be dying here, just trying to do as much damage on his way out. Bullet time now coming in, trying to save the life of Aatrox, but it's not going to be happening. So, at the end of the day, it will just be a 2-for-2 trade, although MF and Maokai not looking to say that is going to be the outcome that they're looking for, so they get at least one more just for good measure.
Yeah, the flash on the Maokai being popped to get down chasing members for dead botting to finish off. And, well, this is going to be a good setup for the Baron if they can keep up this pressure here. And it's looking like the third dragon is going to make this game come very difficult for Oblivion. With Baron and the third dragon coming up, that's going to be a lot of team fights that they have to take, Kanka, and that is not going to be team fights they want to do.
Yeah, especially with this mid-inhib gun, it's going to be making it so that they pretty much have no prio in the mid lane for, like, ever. It will give them the ability to get some CS that they might be lacking earlier on, but at the end of the day, the pressure is what you're wanting, especially when this Baron's going to be coming back up in about a minute.
Yep, Azrael has gotten the Leandries. Oh, is this a catch-out? This is going to be a
Fox
lot
might be
dedicated.
getting a little bit caught out here. Malphite standing nice and close, knocking him into the path of Renata. Trying to get out of here with Nature's Grasp, but only going to be dying here. So that's huge, actually, especially considering that the jungler will not be alive for quite a considerable amount of time. The Hex Gates should get him back in time for the Baron, though, I do believe.
Yeah, so we'll be at the Baron, but the setup may be given over. Stet just going to face tank this turret here. That's a bounty, so that's going to be some good W's that Oblivion are going to be picking up here. They're going to need to get a vision advantage at the Baron, though, if they want a chance at this game. And to be honest, that's where their comp wants to play. Enemy running into them and right in the crossfire of multiple ultimates.
Yeah. In the meantime, their opponents just have so much vision over it, but they're just kind of sitting
They're
here,
just trying to
waiting
set
for
up a trap.
Mumu to try and go in here. They're trying to
it's
just
always
catch
the
one
support.
out. Flash for a Mumu is going to be getting nice and safe. That is 100% that you have to be doing. Otherwise, you're going to be going in there without one of your biggest hard CC players.
Yeah, that is going to ruin the flash ultimate play from a Mumu. So a little bit of effectiveness taken out, but they're going to have to face check their way to this Baron. Not a good look. They do have the tanky member of stat, but no one's here. And this is going to be another free Baron. They're going to have to trade this side and try to set up on the Dragon as much as possible. Although I don't know how much effectiveness they're going to get out. All that vision is going to be cleared.
Yeah, they should be able to kill Stet here. There should be absolutely no way he gets out of this alive, so that does give them a little bit of an advantage in taking the Dragon, but... Ooh, Graves, he actually tried to go for a little bit of a steal on it, it seems. But, yeah, just going to try and keep things nice and chill up here. Well, yeah, actually without him, they're not going to be able to contest this Dragon. It's more important to keep control over this turret.
Yeah, they're going to be utilizing the Baron. Take pressure away from that bottom side right now. But did they just fly too close to the sun? Stet's here. No ultimate, though.
Yeah, Stet taking an immense amount of damage, though. And so it's a 4v4 situation, but... There's really no way they can properly lock down these guys from this distance, especially with Maokai's ult being still alive as well as Amumu's. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of an inability for them to capitalize on that. But fight's still going to be coming up in the Dragon Pit, and Aatrox is not going to be alive for 6 more seconds.
All right, that is going to be very important. Multiple members filing in. Oblivion have the foothold. Can they make the turnaround at this 5th Dragon? We'll have to see. All the ultimates are up.
Oh, they do get it, but will they be able to get out of this alive? Featherstorm is going to be getting put off. Headhunt trying to escape. He should be the only one that dies here for his team. A worthy sacrifice for this Dragon, my personal opinion. But the problem is that your opponent's still got great control over these lanes, and their push potential to counter you is going to be huge with this Baron buff.
Yeah, this is going to be another massive push. Without that Graves, that's a huge damage member on the side of Oblivion being taken out. And now LiT just going to walk it down, get this last mid-tier turret, and then make their way onto the base of Oblivion. I do wonder how much time they have left. It should be running out soon, so it's less than half already. They have this window where Graves is not up, and they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I think that they are likely to lose another inhib here unless some serious things are done by Stet. He's going to try and get a little bit of an engaged situation going on here. But speaking of engaged, there you go. A Mumu flash ulti, and in goes Stet again. But his ultimate is not going to be nearly as effective. Younglin trying to do as much damage to Swain as he can is going to be the one that kills Aatrox. Swain is still going to be pretty low. All these players pretty low, but it's not going to be meaning a stop on the inhib take.
Yeah, meanwhile, Younglin, let's be giving some credit over here, making somewhat of a rebellion against LiT eSports, but this ain't Star Wars. The rebellion isn't going to win in this one.
Yeah, but the underdog is still going to be winning. LiT eSports was not the favorite coming in here, but they are looking to end things right here, right now in their favor. Up 10 kills, completely wiping out the enemy team at the end for the ace with style, and this will be a strong start to the series for them.
Yeah, what well-played game, and especially for a game 1. What a good showing to intimidate the side of Oblivion for the rest of the series here. And just 2 key points, the MF getting fed, the bot side plays coming out of Falafox as well as Deadbotting, just supercharging this MF to take over the game. And then that beautiful, beautiful Dragon, and the way Living Phoenix played this Amumu was amazing. They bait them into the Dragon Pit, and it was just a trap all along. They come around from the sides, flanking on both sides with multiple members, and just absolutely eviscerating in the team fight. Beautiful play from LiT eSports, I have to say. They played that very well, and it's looking like they are not afraid of Oblivion in this game.
Yeah, and let's not forget that these guys are the underdogs as well. Oblivion is second place right now, and LiT eSports has only won 3 out of their 6 games so far. So firm favorites, Oblivion eSports, and especially when you consider the fact that last week LiT eSports lost up against a team that Oblivion eSports 2-0'd. It really should be setting the stage for an Oblivion eSports win, but apparently that is not quite the case here, my friend.
No.
No. All right, hello, Haru. How are you doing?
I'm good. That was quite an interesting game. How are you both doing?
I'm great, especially
Yeah,
after
that was a
one.
great
That
game.
was
Yeah.
very enjoyable.
Yeah, so LiT eSports just bringing it back. Or was it LiT? They were on the
Yes.
blue side, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have that correct. Okay, I wrote the notes. I made sure also you had the notes. But yeah, what was the highlight for both of you? It could be like for either team.
Well,
Crims,
I
you
would
can-
say it's either that dragon fight or the fight at Red Buff, if you guys remember what I'm talking about. Both of those were... The Red Buff one was a little bit more exciting because LiT was on the back end. They're trying to run away, and they get a great turnaround. Kamiko, for you, what do you think was the best moment?
Honestly,
Was
for
it the
me,
Swain lock-in? It was the Swain lock-in.
it was, yeah, that's the high point of the game was the draft for me. The fact that they
It's
picked
like
Swain. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I have to agree with you. One of those that was like the deciding moment in my personal opinion was the fact that the MF was able to get there in time for that 4-man bullet time and just secure that fight, which otherwise would have 100% been lost for them. So yeah, I think that was the defining moment for LiT eSports. Not just the fact that they were able to take all these dragons and barons for free. It was that moment right there.
they also had the Maokai and the Aatrox along with the Swain. And
Right.
I thought that's just like that's too much. It's a little
Yeah.
scary.
You know, I'm looking at the damage stats, and you guys will never guess who did the most. This has to be incorrect calculation, otherwise. But Maokai was the most damage in the game?
It's actually Zaya that did the most damage in the game, but for his team, Maokai did the
Oh,
most
yeah.
damage.
Yeah. Younglin trying his best, had a good champion too. But yeah, Maokai somehow out damages Misfortune in those team fights. Something is a little bit fishy. Maybe a champion might be broken. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Or like
mean-
maybe the Maokai just had more alt activation compared to Misfortune that game.
I'm
Doesn't
gonna
his
chalk
ult
it up
do
to
a
all the
lot?
ganks.
It's all the ganks. Or it's or Crims, as Crim says, just a broken champion.
Sure, we'll go with that too. Combination of both.
Oh, well, so any predictions for the next game coming up? Hopefully no errors or
Maybe a Maokai ban. I can predict that.
Yeah.
what about a Swain ban?
No,
That-
I don't think that Swain is deserving of a ban after that one. Yeah, he had some
yeah.
good game impact overall, but like in and of himself, he was not that big of a threat in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was really the 3 members of Maokai, Misfortune, and Mumu. So that 3 really played well throughout this game, and they were the ones making it work, if you ask me.
Yeah, I've been seeing Amumu being played like very, very often, so I do like the pick. Also, the fact that his lore makes him literally cursed for having no friends, so being chosen a lot this season, I've been pretty stoked for him. So we're gonna go to break here soon. Do you have any words before we head on over there?
None for me.
Yeah, I'm good. That was a great game. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Looking forward to the next game. Thank you so much, everybody. Stay tuned.
Back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a
Wake
bang.
up!
Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade! Come on, get up, come
But
on,
I
come
gotta
on!
say, he was
Go.
smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first
Yeah,
20
making
minutes
a
of the
difference
game,
here in this
it was a
game
bit
so
of
far.
fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Big
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
on this side, and there's a 3v3 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Box is Cruel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before his last dies, and Chicken Fried Rice to escape with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him. And they call comes back in the circuit, flip finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage retrieval back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still
find
performing
Akali.
extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out, simply tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the ace, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
Normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo Boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good depth running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes too strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Good Death trying to stall time for his 80 carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series. It seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts, because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up.
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v3 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Box is Cruel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before his last dies, and Chicken Fried Rice to escape with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him. And they call comes back in the circuit, flip finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane.
Everyone, we are back. So Crims, he was filling in, but now Sherv is here. How are you, Sherv? Glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I had a little bit of a slight delay. My apologies there, but glad to see that we're going to be getting into some pretty amazing action. I was able to catch basically the back half of game 1. Story of two different comps, that's for sure. I think if you ask any team that was in Worlds which comp they'd rather have, it definitely would be LiT. You get Maokai, Aatrox, both power picks, Misfortune and S tier pick with their preferred bot laner and Momumu. at that point you could slap anyone in the mid lane and you'd end up having a great composition to run out of. So for LiT, looked like a little bit of a draft gap in game one. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out with in regards to game two. So hopefully Oblivion can figure out what champions they want to play and how they can try and pull this series back in their favor.
Yeah. Yes. I was actually I mean, I respect all teams, but I was shocked when LiT they ended up taking the first game. What are your thoughts on that, Kamaka? And I don't know if you saw the I guess you saw the end of the game, sure.
Mhm.
Well, my thoughts is that it's obviously a little bit of an upset, judging by the draft. I'm not too surprised, but looking at the team's records, I was a little bit. Oblivion has only lost one game all season, and LiT has. They're very far down in the league table compared to them, and they've also lost badly up against people who Oblivion have beaten badly. So I was totally not expecting this, to be totally honest with you, but it does appear that the draft is getting started up pretty soon here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any last words before we get over to the draft?
Nothing from me.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you back at the analyst desk. Take it away to draft.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we are already in here quite a little bit. Seraphine, Aatrox, and Maokai, shocker, shocker, being banned out for the side of Oblivion. And then on the other side, we've got Gangplank, Sivir, and Hecarim. Again, not very surprising being banned for them. And Rammus and Lilia locked in so far, sure. What do you think?
I think that these bans are backwards, to be honest. I don't know why you're banning Aatrox and Maokai if you're on blue side. Both of those are very, very strong blue one selections, as well as Seraphine. You're really just putting yourself into a little bit of a corner here. I love the Lilia pick into Rammus. Lilia, later stages in the game, when she has tier 2 boots, when she's able to stack her passive, has so much movement speed that Rammus even at times might not be able to keep up. But it really does come down to what they want to pair in the mid lane with this Lilia, as they do lock in the Shen.
Ooh, a Kindred pick. And I think Bardo actually gets to play his Bard pick. I actually kind of love that. You always love to see people able to play their mains, even though Bard isn't necessarily the easiest support to play.
Absolutely, and at this level of play, it comes down to champion comfort over everything. Obviously, if you have a one trick or a player that's really proficient on one champion, it's going to make your game a little bit easier to play rather than them playing some sort of meta pick that they might not be the most comfortable on. So it'll be interesting to see how LiT wants to respond. Do they want to respond with support in kind, which makes sense, the Amumu, and they still have themselves. Like, ADC is completely open. Like, the role hasn't been banned at all. If anything, you should probably want to set up mid bans here so that you can pick mid on R5 and lock in your ADC on R4. But it'll be interesting to see how Oblivion wants to do that. Are they going to try and ban specific mid laners, or are they going to try and ban ADCs to try and pinch the pool?
Looks like they're banning Swain. I was honestly expecting Swain to dodge the bans that time. In my opinion, he didn't have the most amount of game impact. Yeah, he was dealing a decent amount of damage and just being annoying, but I didn't think that we would be seeing him having that level of impact where he's banned over an MF or something.
I mean, it just makes the LiT easier to draft for, right? Like, you can just lock in Misfortune here, have themselves an amazing composition. Vayne, I don't know. I don't think that that's the greatest matchup to kind of go into, but Misfortune would be great. You get the lane dominance with a Mumu Misfortune that you had last game, something that's familiar. You have the Shen that can ult onto the Misfortune in case Rammus does get onto him. And it'll be a lot easier, but they're going to go with the Shoshana, a little bit more mobility, and we'll see what Oblivion decides to respond with.
Oh, they're hovering the Vayne now as well, but I think that they're just messing with us as well. Just really playing with our emotions here, hovering a lot of champions that I personally would not be picking into this situation. But yeah. Oh, Heimerdinger for the mid lane? Let's go, dude. A whole lot of atypical picks here. Rammus and Kindred, Bard, and Heimerdinger? This is not the comp I was expecting.
Definitely not. And as in the words of Cream
Yoni.
Cheese, did you just lock in Heimerdinger, bro? So it's going to be interesting to see how where even these champions are going to go, because you would assume that it would be
Kindred
Rammus top
ADC.
lane, Kindred at this point. Yeah, it could be Kindred ADC at this point. So we'll see what kind of we'll see what kind of mid lane pick that LiT wants to go with, unless they were flexing Tristana mid AD carry. But it'll be interesting to see how LiT want to round out their composition. They have a ton of engage. They have a top of No, it is. It's going to be Cinder in the mid lane versus this maybe Heimerdinger or Yone. But it'll be interesting to see how Oblivion is going to be able to play in this game, especially with the Heimerdinger. They're going to have to channel their inner organism, that's for sure, to be able to play the champion well.
Yeah, honestly, this is a little bit of an interesting one for me. I'm assuming that they're going to be sending Yone top, Rammus jungle, Heimerdinger mid, Kindred, and Bard in the bot lane. Honestly, I haven't seen a Kindred ADC in like forever, dude. That's about as long as Kindred's been alive. So yeah, that's a new one for me.
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen Kindred support or Kindred AD carry in a long, long time. Maybe in like a random normal game that's definitely a lot lower elo than what we're seeing here. But it'll be interesting to see, because Kindred does go for the marks. How is that going to affect her laning phase if it is going to be Kindred AD carry? Realistically, what you could also do is you could go Heimer AD carry with Bard support, and you could go Rammus top. You could go Rammus, Kindred, Yone, Heimerdinger, Bard. That might be something that's a little bit more congruent with what we've been seeing lately in the meta in higher levels of play. So the draft is going to be what it is, right? They picked the champions, now they just got to figure out where they're going to go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about that lineup, just because I have absolutely no idea what is going to be happening here. As you always like to say, the ease of execution. I'm not really sure what the ease of execution is going to be for their win condition. Obviously, they have a lot of like CC going in their favor. They have a lot of interesting things that you have to keep track of, like Bard's ultimate, as well as Rammus's, as well as Kindred's, Yone. You got a lot of strong CC and undying potential that could be going on here for the side of Oblivion that makes it really hard to keep track of. For LiT, it's a little bit more straightforward. You've got Syndra, who's just going to be looking to execute people. You've got Shen, who can come in from anywhere, anytime he wants. You've got Lilia, who can just walk around the map and set people on fire. So it's a lot more straightforward for LiT, and maybe the thing that could be their undoing is not necessarily knowing what to expect from Oblivion's lineup.
For sure. And when you look at LiT's composition, right, they do have the ease of execution like we've talked about. Amumu, Q bandage toss, pretty, straight line, straight skill shot. So it's not incredibly difficult. And if Amumu gets into a group and is able to pop ultimate, Shen with the Stand United onto the Amumu, continuing the CC chain, the rest of Oblivion eSports, it could lead to a pretty interesting fight that's basically one-sided, that some champions might not even be able to get their full combos off. So it'll be interesting to see how these teams choose to play. Again, I'm always a big proponent of Vision. Vision saves lives. Vision's going to allow you to do things that not a lot of teams are going to be able to pull off, just because you have the information, right? So who's going to be setting up first on the objectives? Who's going to end up having push? I would imagine that LiT is going to have at least 2 pushing lanes, but we'll see how this goes in regards to that, as we're starting to see some of the compositions come into play here with some of the players swapping and switching their champions after draft.
Can't be right.
I don't think so. I don't think that it's going to be Bard top. So we'll see what happens here in regards to that. But it's going to be looking like it's going to be Rammus, Kindred, Yone, Heimerdinger, Bard as the composition that I mentioned earlier. I feel like Rammus into Shen's actually pretty solid. If he wants to taunt you, right, you can always just throw up your W and end up having the protection on that. And then with Kindred, Lilia, pretty solid jungle matchup. Kindred does have the ability to have some unique paths and unique gank strategies with her ability to avoid some terrain. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
So it does look like it is going to be a Bard top with Heimerdinger and Rammus bot lane. I mean, I think Kindred jungle is probably the best place for her in order to get her marks. But yeah, I'm just not so sure how this bot lane is going to go. I don't think I've ever seen this combination anywhere ever, to be honest with you.
I think they human swap. Like I think that Bardo goes up and plays top, Rammus top, and then Stet goes down and plays Bard support. I think that's something that would happen, or we might end up with a remake. But what we'll do is we'll send it to a break, and then we'll come back once we're in game.
Back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang. Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up.
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it.
Wow!
And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last, dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 Steve with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him, and the call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage to Tribal back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a team fight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still performing extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out simply, tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the ace, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo Boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good depth running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes too strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Good Death trying to stall time for his 80 carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series, it seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts, because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up, come on,
I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last, dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 Steve with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him, and the call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage to Tribal back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still
find
performing
Akali.
extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out, simply tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the craziest of lineups once again. Something you will not see anywhere else, and I am joined for this awesomeness by Sherv.
Awesome, it may very well be. This is definitely the most unique game of League of Legends I've probably ever seen. We have a Bard top. Like, where are you seeing that anywhere else on the planet? Bard top, especially when your support is named Bardo support. You're taking this guy's signature named champion. And you're like, no, I'll play it top. It's definitely interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just to throw them off. It was just a whole bait tactic to try and get them to pick certain ways, but I don't think it necessarily worked out too well. I don't think they would have really changed anything that they're bringing to the table here, unless obviously they didn't ban Aatrox and Maokai.
For sure. I don't know. I've never seen this lane come up before. I've never seen Bard top. I don't know how it'll do into Shen. I could imagine it could be okay because you have a range in the melee top laner, but Shen's a beefy boy. Like, he doesn't have to be worried about any. He shouldn't have to be worried about too much in this lane. But we're seeing some shenanigans.
Yeah, we definitely are, and it looks like we're going to be having an AP Bard here. Whenever I see Bard not played in support, I usually see him with like some attack speed type of items, unless I'm mistaken. It's a very difficult thing to be expecting, and it looks like he's going to go for an early bout with Syndra, but pinged off of it.
And it makes a ton of sense for Kindred to want to invade this Lilia, right? Take away some buffs, take away some extra XP, because Lilia will end up farming faster than Kindred. And we're seeing ourselves a little bit of a fight in the bot lane.
Just getting
here.
already a little bit hit upside the head. This Heimerdinger's looking pretty dang nasty with it. Bardo gonna be hitting it from a distance, and in comes Lilia for the support. First blood for Heimerdinger, and Rammus, he might be tanky enough to just finish off this Lilia. Gonna be slowing him down though, but Rammus, I think he should be able to speed up into this Lilia, just trying to dip, dodge, and weave, but not quite gonna be happening. Tristana trying to get one back onto Bardo support, does an immense amount of damage, and Bardo should be just dying here.
This game's crazy.
Yep.
This game is unbelievable. I cannot believe that we're seeing the type of skirmishing that we're seeing already on the map. We're seeing a level 1 Bard run the mid lane. We're seeing a Heimerdinger AD carry with a Rammus support. It's crazy to see already, and it'll be interesting to see how this team does want to function in regards to who is their carry going to be, who they're going to try to funnel gold onto. Is it going to be the Kindred? Is it going to be the Yone? Is it going to be a Heimerdinger even?
Well, I think the better question is, can it function? Because it looks like every single lane is getting a little bit beat upside the head for Oblivion, trying to take a little bit of an all-in fight. Ignite coming on in here, and Kindred might very well be able to secure the kill on this, especially with the Airborne. That's actually going to be a great little kill there for Headhunt.
Definitely, and it ends up giving him a lot of pressure on the map here. Headhunt's going to be able to pick up that kill and allow himself to accelerate, give himself a little bit more pressure to put onto the jungle.
Rammus
and we're seeing a roam already.
Level 2 Rammus roam, here we go. Gonna force back the Lilia just a little bit. 3 people mid, and this is gonna be taking a lot away. Heimerdinger, he's pretty much his own support. His turrets are his support, so he's fine, but the solid hit from Syndra is going to be making it a little bit hard for him. Lilia trying to go for a steal in his opponent's jungle, but doesn't look like it's going to be working out too much. Borrow support still a little bit too close. Smite going to be coming in to get a little bit extra health, and Syndra going to be getting some nice damage. Triple stun here. This should be a nice little cleanup for the Lilia, but flashing away is going to be all for nothing.
And it's going to be so much committed, so much time, so much CS lost, so much time spent on the map where for nothing. Yeah, you're burning some summoner spells, but at the same time, what are you actually gaining from that, right? So Lilia went in, tried to go for a steal.
Oh, here we go again. Heimerdinger getting a little bit caught out, and there's nothing he can do here. Kindred going to be getting caught out now as well. Mistake for not falling on back. Stet gonna try and get away through the portal, and he does. But still, it's not looking too pretty for Oblivion.
Definitely not looking too pretty at all, and that's the risk that you take when you do pick a non-meta type composition, right? You have a Heimerdinger, not necessarily super mobile, with the peel that he desperately needed in the Rammus that wasn't there, right? He was in the jungle fight there in mid base, so good on Deadbotting and good on Living Phoenix to be able to spot that weakness and end up taking advantage of it.
He's still level 2. Gonna try and bait in Tristana. That's actually a really good bait there because she's still within range of turret, forces her to hit him, so it's gonna be making so that she takes a turret shot. Should be allowing them to get some good control over lane for now, forcing them back. Should be able to get themselves a little bit of minions back.
Yeah, they may be able to get some form of an XP lead. At least Bardo will be able to pick up some additional XP that they have lost already. Would also give them good opportunity to grab this first dragon of the game, as they will have the mid lanes end up meeting and resetting, and the bot lanes resetting as well. Maybe a little bit of a push, but Heimer turrets are great for helping to take objectives. Obviously, having your support there to soak a lot of the damage, also great. So we'll see them end up taking the first dragon of the game here.
Yeah, very well should be. Stet gonna be playing it nice and carefully. I'm just trying to see what he's attempting to build here in the meantime. He's building some health and some boots. I'm trying to think about what item he would be looking to build here. Any ideas on that, Sherv?
I'd want to see a tier 2 or a tier 2 compositional item, at least before I can try and comment on that. Maybe Demonic Embrace, maybe for first item. Might not be the best, but might be good. We'll see what type of items he will build. It's going to come from more of the tier 2 items before finishing his mythic.
Yeah, sorry if I was setting you up for failure on that one. So, yeah, it's going to be, overall, good control over the jungles, at least for Oblivion, even though they've been getting a little bit beat upside the head in the bot lane as well as mid. Yoni's been getting a little bit sidelined, but ooh. Oh, this is a good thing about having a Bard top. It's going to be getting him nice and stunned, stunning the turret as well. This is going to be the easiest dive of the game. And so, they will finally get a solid kill for nothing in return for the enemy team.
And the thing is that they also miss out on so many minions on the top side there. IQ is going to end up probably missing on at least 10 minions here, or probably 6 to 8 now that he's TPing in. But it'll be interesting to see how they want to end up putting more gold onto Headhunt and onto Smelvin, because Headhunt is basically the main carry for this roster. Yes, Yone does scale incredibly well with items, but Kindred needs the gold, needs her marks to be able to be successful in the game. If she doesn't get those, she'll end up falling behind. And, you know, I've never seen a non-fed Kindred do incredibly well in any game. So good on the blue side for end up identifying that, hey, we need to get Kindred, we need to get Yone gold, so let's see what we can do.
Here we go, a little bit of a taunt here coming off. Shen trying to come in and give a little bit of assistance, but it's going to be too damn late. And so that will be a 1-for-0 trade. Syndra tried to do everything in her power, but just tickling Yone with those, with that ultimate of hers.
Yeah, she's not on their Lost Chapter spike, right? So like she's not going to end up doing a ton of damage yet, and that just allows for blue side in Oblivion to be able to invade the enemy jungle.
Getting a little bit in too deep here, in my personal opinion. No ult here for Kindred, meaning that they are 100% dead, but still too many people left alive, and Bard gonna be looking to go through his little portal into a kill here onto Fox, forcing the flash, and so that will be able to regain them some good control over Kindred's jungle.
And basically for no loss on the side of Stet, he's able to TP back, he's able to catch that wave. Maybe I believe he lost a half of a wave, but for the Bard, he just wants to be able to match the type of abilities and the type of map presence that Shen has. He definitely knows, hey, Shen doesn't have ultimate. It was burned in the last fight where they were able to end up taking down the Syndra, where he wasn't able to finish his stand united. So they're able to punish that, right? Hey, I have a TP, let's make a play on this side of the map. Let's get some more gold onto our carries here and see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, so far the bot lane is the only place where things are actually going pretty good, surprisingly, for LiT. They've got a sizable gold lead down there, but everywhere else, everyone's just, like, been dying, especially recently. So, honestly, I'm a little bit shocked at how the game has been going so far for them. They're going to try and target Yone, good little hit, getting him to overcommit on the Syndra, trying to target his little return point. There is going to be Folly Fox taking a turret shot. Ult coming in now, might very well be able to kill her, except for the drowsiness. I think she used her ultimate there, the Lilting Lullaby, so should be a death there for her. Shen gonna try and get on out of there, flashing on out, but Bard should be able to easily follow this, and a solid hit for the ultimate there for him as well, the Tempered Fate. Kindred hopping over the wall, not gonna be looking to let him escape from this one, but it looks like he very well could be, unless Kindred really dives in hard for this. Yeah, the final hit of her passive is gonna be hitting, so she will actually be able to take him out.
And that's huge for Headhunt. He is able to get another stack onto his passive. That is 4. So the more stacks that Kindred does get, the more AD, the more attack range, more that she will get. So again, huge to get another mark completed for Headhunt. It'll be interesting to see how they want to continue to push this. It looks like they're going to get another one right away while jumping onto the Krugs here.
Yeah, it's going to be in a place where Shen just died, so they know that there's going to be really no pressure there. Bard's going to be there as well, so this should be a free mark for Kindred, just making her get ever so much more fed, as you precisely pointed out. But things are still going good in the bot side for Tristana. They've already got some good plays as well, some good kills under the Heimerdinger and all that. But looking to change that is Rammus now going to be finally rejoining his bot lane duo along with a Yone. And this could be huge if they win this, especially since Dragon is coming up in 15 seconds.
And the one thing that we're looking at, yes, Headhunt has himself a ton of kills, has himself a ton of marks, but what we are failing to realize is Tristana's really far ahead. Tristana is 1,000 gold up onto this Heimerdinger, and Rammus has barely been in lane, right? So if we're looking at it from a carry versus carry perspective, Lilia has matched the amount of gold that Kindred has, and Tristana has more gold than Yone and Heimerdinger, not right? So Tristana's going to be able to pump out more consistent damage because she has her second tier items. She does have her Kraken Slayer already completed while they're grabbing this dragon at around 11 minutes here. So she's going to be able to pump out more damage.
Absolutely. I just looked and she's about 1,000 gold up on this Heimerdinger, so it's going to be huge, especially since she scales a lot better than him. And now going in here, Yone trying to get him nice and stuck up with the ult. Azriel trying to ult his way out of here as well with the unleashed power. Might be in a little bit of trouble here if they do overstay, but Headhunting the guys there. They're feeling pretty good about this. Rammus now coming in the other side, targeting the weakened player, but Shen just zoning him off of this. So at the end of the day, it's just going to be a little bit of time wasting in the middle of the map for most of the team.
Yeah, defending that Herald play is actually huge because Yone isn't allowed to get free farm. I believe that the Herald did hit, so they were able to split the gold amongst all of their champions instead of just the Yone getting it. So good on the side of LiT for forcing Oblivion to have more of their more resources committed to placing that Herald on the mid lane there.
Absolutely, and it's just meaning a lot more bottom turret plates being gained by them. They've only got one left that they haven't gained, and ooh, Shen trying to follow up Stet, but I don't think he's going to quite be able to, especially since he's got the sustain. He actually takes away both of his little teacups there, so Stet is not going to be able to get any health back for just a little bit longer. But either way, still looking pretty good overall for Bard top, surprisingly to say.
Yeah, when looking at this, yeah, you're 1-0-3, you're down, 20-ish CS, probably getting down to around 25. But you've had impacts on the map. You've been more of a presence on the map than the enemy Shen, which is pretty amazing to say, considering you have Stand United and TP on IQ Island, and Stet has been able to impact the game a little bit more. So, checking in on the gold leads here. Yeah, Lilia and Kindred, basically the same. Kindred has about a 250 gold lead here. Yone over the Syndra, get about 200 gold lead. It's this difference of the Tristana and the Heimerdinger. Tristana is up 1,300 gold, has your tier 2 boots, is working towards the tier 2 components of her second item. She's going to be able to pump out a ton of damage. The next really big fight here is going to come up in about 2 minutes and 50 seconds when this next dragon spawns. So it'll be interesting to see how they want to position.
Actually, it might be right now. It might actually be right now as botting. He's going to be face checking that bush, getting a little bit caught out here. And Yone coming in to secure the deal onto the Fed. Tristana igniting, and she will be dying, trying to catch them underneath the turret, but absolutely not going to be happening. Phoenix, he's dead as a doornail as well. What an effective dive from Oblivion.
Absolutely, hugely effective dive. And if you're dead botting, why are you trying to jump away from the turret? If you're able to end up staying underneath your turret, pump out your consistent damage, have some at least follow-up to the damage instead of kind of just getting caught out on your own. He handed over massive shutdowns. I'm not sure who exactly the shutdown went to. I believe it was the Yone, which that's probably the worst person that you want to give the shutdown to.
And with a 2-item power spike as well. Solid stun hitting from Stet, and so you might have killed one here, Azriel, but you're not going to be getting much more than that, and it's pretty much going to cost you your life. So again, great control being made over Oblivion on this map. They're up quite a considerable amount of kills and control now.
Yeah, they are up probably about 1,200, 1,300 gold now. So it will be interesting how they do want to play this in regards to gaining these freestanding gold for the objectives. First turret did go down on the side of Oblivion. They were able to claim that first turret bonus. As it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a skirmish on the top side here.
Yeah, I really like this attempt from Lily and Shen to stop Kindred from getting another stack. She had a mark over there on those Krugs, so very, very worthwhile fight for them in their own jungle. And so just based on the lack of knowledge of where the rest of the enemy team is going to be, they're going to be trying to stay alive. Kindred might be forced to expend her ultimate here, but not quite. Rammus coming to the rescue without even needing Kindred to pop her respite.
Yeah, and again, it's another skirmish that's going on to the side of Oblivion, right? Where Kindred's able to stay alive, Kindred's able to collect another mark, Kindred's able to, do what she wants to do in regards to trying to be a carry for the side of Oblivion. And as we're seeing, Tristana, she was able to pick up that turret in the bottom side there. Shen looking to pick up the turret on the top side here for this dragon to come out in about 40 seconds.
Man.
Does have the Stand United available, but it looks like there is going to be a fight before that happens.
Ooh, Mumu getting caught. Tristana barely jumping out of range, trying to target the Rammus a little bit because he's the CC. And yeah, in goes Azriel trying to just force him on away. All players on the table now, and Lilia trying to once again address his Kindred mark. So it's going to be nothing for nothing at the end of the day.
If I'm Shen here, I'm not even hitting base. I am instantly looking to continue to hit this tower, trying to take this tower and use my Stand United.
Stet might be getting a little bit caught out here. They're going to follow him nice on through. Stun hitting. That's a very common Bard tactic I see, but Azriel still going to be forcing him to meet his maker at the end of the day, funnily enough, because Bard is the maker of everything in League of Legends lore. But Youngling and the guys actually very, very low health. Tristana coming in to try and get some kills. Properly placed Yone ult, though, will be making it so that they all die at the end of the day. Crazily enough, how that Yone ult really, man, honestly, it was not going their way until Yone popped his ult there.
And it helps when Yone's ended up getting that shutdown from the Tristana earlier in the game, allowed him to get to his basically 2-item power spike. He doesn't really need much help anymore. He's already there. And IQ Island, again, very questionable timings in regards to the use of his Stand United. And now he's just caught out. So we're going to be heading over another kill to the Yone, who's already incredibly far ahead. So what exactly is the play here, right? Like, what are we trying to accomplish when we're giving away kills and we're giving away map pressure to this Yone?
They keep on going in here for him as well, and so it's just non-stop fighting on this map. There's always one fight going on anywhere, and they never really seem to be favoring LiT anytime that these fights are going on.
It's because they're having these very mismatched fights, these very skirmishy, brawly type fights that does favor the side of Oblivion eSports. They have the Kindred who's able to pump out consistent damage. They have the Bard who is able to have some form
here he
of
goes
CC
again.
available.
About to finish off this Shen yet again, and so yeah, that opens the door for Kindred and Rammus to go in for yet another mark. Lily going to be all by herself up top, getting stunned up. And Rammus looking to come in here for the assist on the kill here now as well. Bard trying to get her to stop dead in her tracks with the Tempered Fate, taunting her, and she is not going to be escaping this one, my friend.
And you wouldn't think that this Bard top would have been incredibly effective, but it has had an immense amount of map pressure. Now it's something that you basically have to play towards, and this Bard is able to put out so much, not only damage, but is able to just be a thorn in your side.
Oh, and that stun from Bard, once again, you were just mentioning it, he's going to be leading to yet more deaths, getting them in a spot where Heimerdinger can just unload all of his damage at once on them, and it's a pretty sizable amount as well. He's gotten an amazing amount of levels just because he's been allowed to solo farm bot for so long.
Absolutely, right? He's been able to farm solo bot. He also did end up sharing the part of that first turret gold bonus from gathering that bot lane turret. Again, allowing to have solo XP. A lot has just been going in the way of Oblivion basically since that dive. They were able to chain that lead that they got from that dive, the tempo and the initiative that they had gotten from that play, to be able to translate it on the rest of the map.
Oh my god, Lily getting caught out once again. She does deny the mark on her blue for Kindred, though, at the very least, before she dies. At this point, that's sort of a little bit not meaning a whole lot to me. They were meaningful earlier, but now they're just stacking even more gold on top of gold. And so, yeah, we're at the point now where for 21 to 10, double the amount of kills, looking to break the tier 2 turret with the drop of the Rift Herald here from Kindred. And so, yeah, things are actually starting to fall apart for the meta comp.
Yes, definitely, and that's the issue that you could run into while you're playing against a composition that isn't necessarily the meta, right? Something that you haven't necessarily played against before. As a shutdown comes already for this Tristana.
Yep. Ooh, Shen ult coming in at an actually good time to save the Amumu, possibly, but Lilia gonna be possibly caught out all by her lonesome, trying to get away, but only kiting out so Tristana can focus one enemy at a time. Might be able to get Heimerdinger as well, but a solid stun followed up by a turret drop is going to be meaning that he will be able to escape quite safely from this now low health Tristana, and trying to anticipate the flash as well, but it's just too good, too much damage from Tristana, but it was very risky. Heimer almost was able to get her out of that.
And it's like watching two heavyweight boxers with absolutely no defense, just haymaker after haymaker after haymaker. One team gets the upper hand, then the other team throws a hook back,
Bro,
then the other team throws an uppercut. Just so much going on all the time that no team's able to actually start to push their lead because they're trying to continuously push it in regards to how much can we get out of this instead of just accepting what they've gotten and then taking base and deploying onto the map as a group.
Yeah, it is literally just non-stop fighting, and I think that this is also kind of benefiting the Kindred. She benefits a lot from these marks. She's been able to get the majority of the kills, so that's just stacking her passive and making it more likely for her to get these solo kills once again. Shen gonna try and get away, but Yone says, no way, not today. Ults once again and prevents yet another escaping player from getting away from Kindred's deathly grasp.
Yeah, that ain't no joke, right? That combination of the Rammus taunt and the Bard stun and the Kindred just being able to free farm and free auto anyone that she pleases. Definitely dangerous, that's for sure.
Yep, Azrael now getting caught out once again. It's like I'm a broken record at this point. This player gets caught out, this player gets caught out. Lilia quite likely going to be getting caught out now. The stun landing once again, and now it's a 2-for-1 special. Amumu going to try and pop the Curse of the Sad Mummy, but he's got 5 players here, all under turret. There's absolutely no way that they're going to be dying here, especially when Kindred pops your Respite. And they've got the wave here now as well, so they're going to be able to take the turret for no deaths, man.
And it's just crazy trades happening every single fight. The Bard is making all of the difference here. Bard's able to keep Kindred alive. Bard's going to be able to save his Heimerdinger from getting jumped on, being able to use the ultimate in the Tempered Fate to be able to stop fights and getting the perfect positioning for the Rammus to be able to taunt. This Bard has been stealing the show in this game.
Yeah, dude, like I'm at a little bit of a loss for words. Kindred's at a point where she can really solo the dragon if she really wanted to, and I think she very well is. Heimerdinger gonna show up with some turrets just to make it a little bit quicker, but not necessarily needed. They're gonna try and force a Baron fight out of this. I think this is potentially a good move for them, especially if they can do it fast. They've got Tristana, so they will be able to burn this down quite quickly. That could be able to get there in time, and also popping their abilities here, but Bard gonna be keeping them nice and stuck, gonna force a flash to come out. They're gonna get at least 2 of the Baron buff wielding players here, and maybe a third, but there's gonna be at least 2 survivors from the situation.
And at what cost are you getting that Baron at, right? You're giving away your Tristana, you're giving away your Shen, most likely giving away your Amumu here. For what? For some push on the map, for some play with Baron. As at this level, sometimes teams don't always necessarily are able to take advantage of that Baron push, right? Now you're seeing that they're on the back foot because they have 2 players, one of them being Tristana, who's arguably their way to win this game. It's just not even on the map. She can't make a difference when she's on gray screen. So, and I guess we're gonna lose another Baron buff here.
Yeah, Mumu just even using his ultimate, trying to delay as much as possible so his teammates can try and get out of their own base while wielding their other 2 Baron buffs. But it wasn't really too effective. He kept the Bard nice and distracted, who is one of the major playmakers, but at this point, Kindred is just so incredibly fed that you're not going to be able to do too much against her. Ram is so tanky that he can just dive you under turrets like that without even really thinking about it. Just press the ult button and get free kills. Bard now trying to get himself out of here with the ultimate, but Tristana gets the auto off just in time before he hops over the top and out of range. Lilia going to be now dying as well. Another solid hit from the ultimate, the upgrade, but I mean, yeah, Tristana now dying to Kindred. Kindred can easily chase this guy down, and it's going to be yet another full team wipe in the favor of Oblivion.
And the unique off-meta team comp comes through. Kindred, the one who they needed to get the gold onto, they did end up getting the gold onto it. It's now a 3,000 gold lead in regard for the Kindred over the Lilia. And the Tristana ending up having a lead over the Heimerdinger, but it's feeling absolutely useless because they're able to chain CC from the Heimerdinger, from the Rammus, from the Bard, into Kindred just being able to auto and kill them, right? So, not much you can really do from the side of LiT here other than, try to end up getting some of your carries some farm here. Maybe end up letting Oblivion eSports take an inhibitor so you can at least allow them to farm for free.
Kindred going in here once again to get another free kill even before she gets put to sleep. And that thing does not act slowly, my friend. Kindred just kills people that fast. So that's going to be the 9th death in about 24 minutes for Lilia. Absolutely obscene amount of deaths.
And if you're LiT at this point, you're asking yourselves, what's our win condition? How can we try to come back into this game? Like, what are we supposed to do here? We have our Tristana that has a pretty big lead, but Syndra isn't able to accomplish anything yet because she's only on her first item, looking to get to that Shadow Flame as the second item. Lilia has been put back super far behind now. Kindred's just being able to do whatever she wants on the map and grab every and any mark that shows up. And now this is also a Heimerdinger problem because you can't even run in and try to, force a multi-person sleep because he can stun you, he can hit you with his turrets, end up hitting you with his rockets. There's just so many things that the side of Oblivion eSports can do now because they have this lead.
Yeah, sure. Literally about half of the gold lead is just in the hands of Kindred. So that's not going to be too overly helpful to the enemy team right now. She's got pretty much everything she could possibly want. She's going to be filling out with some crit cloaks so that she can get some extra benefit out of her Infinity's Edge. So yeah, she's not only is she going to be attacking fast, she's got some MR, which is where a lot of the damage could be coming from the Syndra. But like, yeah, this is a recipe for disaster. Lilia getting caught out once again, likely going to be getting her 10th death. Bard ultimate once again, Tempered Fate on point, hasn't missed one of those very often. But I mean, they're going to at least respect the fact that Syndra is here now. Can you check for me real quick how many splinters she has? I'm hoping it's close to 100.
Syndra splinters, she does have, I believe it's 109, so 109 splinters. I haven't necessarily read into her passive all that much, but definitely she's close to that cap of, I believe, 120. So it will be it'll be interesting to see how she decides to ramp up closer to the end of this game with completing that Shadow Flame. Seeing what item she does try to go for next. She has a Dark Seal, but again, she's died too many times that she hasn't been able to stack it the way that she should want to. And it looks like Youngland is actually camping himself here, looking to see if he can get anybody who's a little bit of trying to search through the jungle without any real vision. So he's got those 3 turrets there, waiting and seeing who he's going to end up bursting.
Yeah, the reason why I bring up the Syndra Splinters is because as soon as she hits 100, her ultimate gets the ability to execute people who are below a certain amount of health. It's the same thing as the Elder buff. So it's a part of the game where Syndra can definitely hit her power spike. If that's something that you can definitely hold on to, but I'm looking at what all these players have in terms of items, and they've got something that can counter that on pretty much every single player. You've got the MR on the Kindred, got the Mortal Shield Bow, so even that, I'm starting to wonder, is that going to be super duper impactful? And I'm starting to think that the answer is no here, Sherv.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're just way too far behind at this point in the game. You're down around, 8,000 gold at this point. And what are you going to do, right? Like, you basically just have to sit Syndra in the side lane and hope that you guys don't get wiped 5v4 if no one decides to match. So on the side of LiT, Folly Fox getting caught out once again. Hitting the 10 death power spike, though. Making Bard burn his ultimate is actually pretty big. So you know that you won't necessarily have to worry about that in the next team fight. And Folly Fox just collecting extra damage at this point. Happy feet is an understatement.
I'm really, really hoping that they can make something out of that. They were stuck up there trying to just play peekaboo with her for a solid 1 minute. So they should be able to get the bottom lane pushed up. Unfortunately, it started up on their turret, so I don't think they're going to be able to quite do that. Can quickly transition this into Baron because they just killed the jungler. So yeah, I think the window to do something out of that massive amount of time gained by Lilia is going to be completely and utterly gone, and the game should be ending very soon.
Yes, and I do think that part of that may have been Kindred's mark was actually respawning. So they were just keeping her alive and making sure she couldn't base so that Kindred could get another mark. As weird as that sounds, but absolutely. Cinder's, pushing this tier 2, but unfortunately her team doesn't have the resources nor the abilities to be able to actually stop this push.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know if they have the will as well. I'm sure it's probably absolutely demoralizing to be down like about 20 kills in this game. The enemy team's got Soul, they've got Baron, and you're down about 10k gold, and most of it's on the Kindred, who's your hyper carry. So I think that it's just time for them to, they're not even going to be looking to end this right now. They might be able to catch out the Kindred here, surprisingly. Going to be popping her ultimate just to try and get things back in their favor. Flashes right on out of there, but yeah, amazingly, still not even able to kill the Kindred, even in the 5v1 scenario.
And they burn so many things trying to kill this Kindred that at this point now, on the side of Oblivion eSports, you can reset, you can end up reevaluating, potentially going to grab this Elder Dragon and then just finishing off the game that way.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder, are they making this game take longer just so that their opponents can like run out of time and have to go do whatever they have to do next today? I'm starting to think that might be a little bit of a tactic here.
It might be also in terms of a demoralizing tactic as well.
Right.
The longer that you have a team behind, the longer that you have a team arguing amongst each other, definitely a good thing, right? I always remember myself in regards of working with teams is, team loses, all right, you lost, let's talk about it later, go into the next one. Kind of just have that some short-term memory loss. Remember the fundamentals, remember the things that got you here, but then if you lose a game, hey, we lost, yeah, we kind of sucked, and then let's just move on.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to forget a very long butt whooping than like a very, very quick one. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's a lot easier, like in terms of memory, the way human memory works in terms of psychology. But either way, yeah, I think that they're just going to be trying to take their time with this. I think you're 100% spot on with the fact that they're, just trying to demoralize their enemy team extra much, trying to kill the Kindred once again, but it's just not working, man. It's just something that you can't seem to do this game. I'm sure it's going to be a goal of theirs, a micro goal when winning is completely and utterly out of the question, is just kill the Kindred once ever since the last one that they've been able to do. But yeah, this is just so over, my friend.
That's your moral victory, right? If you're on the side of LiT, that's your moral victory. Let's at least get one kill on the Kindred, grab the shutdown, and then we'll be able to walk out of here with at least some pride. But it's looking like that's not even going to be the case.
Absolutely not. Lily just trying to say, not me, you're not going to kill me again, not for the 11th time, but yeah, it is going to be the 11th time. Kindred triple kill for the ace, and they will finally be putting their opponents out of their misery and pushing this finally into overtime in map number 3.
And it is crazy to see how this off-meta comp was actually able to be executed by the side of Oblivion eSports. The Bard top definitely came into play in regards to the composition here. It actually had more map presence and more of a pressure on the map than the Shen did with the Stand United and the Teleport. And believe it or not, the Bard ended up doing almost as much damage as the Heimerdinger and the Yone. Even without even finishing they finished a Mythic, but it was Locket, so I wouldn't necessarily call that a solo lane Mythic, but even with having those items and non-damage dealing items, the Bard top was able to have a massive impact on this game.
Yeah, he even out-damaged the enemy team's AD carry, so like, dude, I say that they probably have to ban that next game just because they don't want it to be happening again. Although, like, that's something that I really would not be wanting to waste a ban on, but with a game like that, you can't be letting that happen again. I don't know, Sheriff. What do you think about that? Haru, you too. What do you think?
I think that it's just a course of, there are too many OP champions to ban. Yes, there is the one-trick rule that you do have to ban. If there is a proficient player on a specific champion, you ban that champion, and that might be the Bard here. But in regards to leaving it up, I think it's okay. But unfortunately, if you leave up too many of these S tier picks like that were left up last game, that it just gives teams way too many options to be able to draft around.
Yeah, and well, I don't know if Haru is back with us yet or not, but I think that, yeah, we're probably going to cut it to a break right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be going over the next draft very, very soon. I'm sure these players are going to be chomping at the bit, especially LiT after that disrespect that they were just dealt in that game. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We might have a revenging in our midst. Stay tuned.
To the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up.
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solos.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last, dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 teeth with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal him. And the call comes back in the circuit, but finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage to Tribal back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a team fight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still performing extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out simply, tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact fall.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the game, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo Boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good depth running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes too strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Good Death trying to stall time for his 80 carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series, it seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts, because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up.
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first...
Hi everyone. So sorry. My computer was just acting up, so I couldn't be in the other call. But that was a really incredible game, especially with the bar top. We were not expecting that. What are your thoughts, Sherv? And what are your thoughts, Kamaka?
Well, the champion was certainly unique. And when you're looking to play against a Shen, obviously there is an inherent, Shen is going to have map pressure. Shen is going to be able to impact fights with the Stand United, with the teleport, things like that. But this Bard was actually able to have a bigger impact than the Shen in these team fights, with the Tempered Fate hitting on the major carries, able to end up picking away at Folly Fox whenever they wanted to go in and try to make a fight happen. It was amazing to be able to set up for the Heimerdinger CC, for the Rammus CC, and allowing for Headhunt to be able to have this massive lead over the Lilia that their composition desperately needed to have.
Yeah, and his ability to hit it was pretty much unmatched. I don't know if he was like practicing with it a whole lot, but like seriously, I don't think he really missed much at all. He hit the very edge of every single player every single time. He hit the turret or not the player, and the player not the turret whenever he really needed to. So the aim, not in addition to the fact that he was able to roam around with the ult, it was on point, man.
Many sessions of Bard Skipball being had there by Stet there, so definitely very impressive for the last game. The bot lane matchup, Dead Botting did have himself a massive lead over Younglin, but the Tristana just didn't have enough either peel or didn't have enough opportunities to be able to end up carrying these fights. So it'll be interesting to see how that moves into the next game, if they're able to end up having the same occurrence happen, or whether it is going to be different.
Yeah, so any predictions that or anything you'd like to see going into this next game?
More
In
crazy
regards,
comps.
yeah, yeah, play your crazy compositions, right? This is the place to bring it out. Play what you're known for as a champion. It's game three, everything's on the line. People do end up resorting to comfort when it is games on the line like this. So will we see the Bard again? Possibly. Will we end up seeing a draft that could have been all S tier picks from Worlds this year? Possibly. So it'll be interesting to see how these teams want to approach draft, and whether they will prioritize comfort or whether they'll prioritize meta.
Yeah, they had the different picks. They had Bard, and then what was the first game? That
Rammus
was
support as well was last
yeah,
game as well. Mhm.
that was an interesting pick too.
Yeah.
Um, well, any bands that you'd like to see coming up besides like the Ram? Well, sorry, it would be the Bard top band, but any other bands?
Honestly, I think that would be. I don't even know. I don't think. I feel like that would be a little bit of a waste of a ban, even though it had like so much game impact. But yeah, I would like to see something else banned aside from the Bard, even though it just had so much game impact.
No, I didn't even realize, but Shen being able to go across the map and ult on his teammates, and Bard just being able to roam. Like I didn't actually think about how powerful that truly is. So very impressed.
Yeah, like Bard's known as like the roaming support, right? Like he'll ditch his AD carry and be like, "All right, I'm going to collect my chimes. And I'm going to go impact the map." So, um, definitely easier to do that from the support role, but he was able to do that top lane. Ended up getting the push, roaming the map, ended up using being able to combine with Headhunt to be able to have a lot of top jungle pressure, which tried to help Smelvin get ahead on the Yone. Definitely didn't get as many kills at the start of the game as he would have liked, but the Yone did end up scaling into being this monster beast with having the 2 item spike and being able to collect his mid tower rather easily. So it'll be interesting to see how they do want to progress with their draft in game three.
I've been noticing that they're bringing the Enchanter mid pick back, and then and or even top. How are you feeling now that that's starting to become kind of a meta thing again?
I mean, like, I don't know. We'll see how it does go. It does appear that we're finally in here with the draft. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are nice and ready to go. And they are actually going to be going with that Bard ban that we were so worried about there, and we're not going to be worried about it anymore. Um,
Yeah, I was assuming that we were going to draft. So, if we are looking at the draft here, we do see that Maokai is left up as a blue one pick that will be available to be picked by LiT. We see Gangplank, Bard, and Sivir been on the side of LiT, and Aatrox, Hecarim, Seraphine on the side of Oblivion. all very pretty standard bans outside of the board. But yeah, Maokai B1, very easy decision. Oblivion, they could go with Amumu and Misfortune here, grab their S tier bot lane that they want to choose to play through, if that's something that they want to accomplish. Or you could grab your pick of jungler to counter the Maokai. More or less has kind of gotten through to being jungle. AD carry is the more preferred options on R1, R2. And they decided to go Kindred Blitzcrank. So it'll be interesting to see whether this Blitzcrank goes into a solo lane, whether it be top or play to support.
Or you could even jungle when they do Kindred ADC. I honestly don't even know at this point. Obviously, that's the least likely of outcomes in my personal opinion. But yeah, you can't not take the Kindred after how incredibly amazing it was in the last game, in my opinion.
And they had a ton of support for it, right? Like they had the, the Bard who was able to end up playing well with it to support the Kindred to be able to go get her marks. They did have the Rammus that would roam from lane to lane to lane to be able to help that as well. As we see, LiT do grab the preferred bot lane of Misfortune Amumu. This will be pretty difficult in regards to playing into Blitzcrank. Misfortune will have to position incredibly well just to make sure that, she doesn't get hooked by the Blitzcrank. Because if Misfortune gets hooked, she's most likely going to die. So, and we see the Heimerdinger again. Organism, did you just pick Heimerdinger, bro? Pretty crazy to see the Heimerdinger come out in another game here between these two teams.
Yeah, and they're going to be banning Swain again. I still think that is one of the players that had the least amount of game impact for them. Maybe just annoying for the Cassiopeia to go up against in that game. I want to say for Smelvin's just yeah, I don't want to fight the Swain again. Can you guys please ban it? That's probably the only reason I see is that they were hindering Smelvin's ability to just go up out of control crazy. And so that's probably the reason why the Swain ban. And so out goes the Rammus once again. I'm not too surprised at that one. Rammus had a really big amount of game impact in the last game, whether he was support or just literally anywhere else on the map could really do anything with that.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what they want to pair in regards to their solo lanes with the core that they have already on the side of LiT. On Oblivion, I think one pick that might actually be super underrated here would be Sylas. If they go Sylas on R4 here, it very much limits what LiT can pick in regards to a top champion pool. You pick something like a Malphite, that's really amazing ultimate for Sylas to steal. And there's already 3 really good ultimates for Sylas to pick here. And it's interesting that it is still available, right? It is an S tier champion in regards of, if we're looking at higher levels of play and in regards to worlds, I believe it's the most picked champion. So it would be interesting to see it come out here. But Oblivion, I'm not sure what they would end up looking to pick here if it isn't the Sylas. Probably just their AD, but I mean, if they lock mid here, I guess that works. They're probably just going to go with Heimerdinger, Blitzcrank as a bottom lane then, and the Vladimir coming out on the side of Oblivion.
I really do like that Vladimir pick. He's a very difficult mid laner to go up against, especially the longer the game goes on. So regardless of what they're picking for the side of LiT, I'm going to be a little bit concerned, especially since I'm pretty sure that Oblivion has their mid laner Smelvin has quite a few games played on him. So they're probably thinking about it themselves, like, what do we pick to go up against that? Maybe they just pick their top laner. Apparently they're going to be going with the Sylas in order to maybe steal the Kindred ult.
It also just prevents other specific champions from being picked from Oblivion. Like, you can't R5 Malphite here and have a really good wombo comp, just because Sylas can also steal it and do the exact same thing. So tons of lockdown, tons of ability to... I mean, if Sylas steals Blitzcrank R and goes in and silences the entire composition, huge win from the side of LiT. So it'll be interesting to see what type of top laner is picked from the side of LiT. And they are going to go with the Ornn. Very heavily scaling composition here. Oblivion's response, you could go Camille, you could go Sejuani, maybe. As you do have some other melee champions like a Blitzcrank hook into auto into E, and then they're stunned. But it's looking like Stet wants to try the Camille here.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that would be a pretty good pick. Oh, here we go! Vayne being picked to counter the Ornn, so not a whole lot of tankiness on the side of Oblivion, but a lot of damage potential. So they are the ticking time bomb team. They've got the Kindred, they've got the Vayne, they've got the Vladimir. So that is, the longer this game goes on, the more, in my opinion, it's going to benefit Oblivion eSports.
Absolutely, and whether that's a comfort pick, whether it's going top for Stet, or whether it's being put in the hands of Younglin with the Blitzcrank, it'll be interesting to see how this game will play out in that regard.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say I think that LiT will find some way to overcome Oblivion eSports. They obviously have to do a little bit more like warding of their jungles to make sure that Kindred's not going to be stealing their farm, because that was a big issue in the last game. Always had someone roaming around with them. So yeah, I think that's something that they can exploit, the fact that Kindred needed a little bit of a bodyguard in the last game.
Absolutely, and it's something where if you look at from like a composition wise, LiT has the more meta composition. They have the point and click. They have the easier to execute. Really easy to hit your Misfortune ultimate if they're stunned and they're rooted from Maokai R and Amumu R. And you have the Oran Horn as well. That's going to be able to impact these later game fights, have some knockups, possibly prevent some opportunities from Oblivion where they do want to engage. Because if you look at the side of Oblivion, they're just hoping and praying on the Blitzcrank hook to be able to pick off the carries on the side of LiT. So it'll be interesting to see how these compositions do get played. Again, I have been known to say one thing and then have my foot instantly be put in my mouth from teams actually playing the compositions, and that's why we play the games, right? You don't just pick the champions and let them automatically play. You actually have to pilot them and see what happens. So it'll be interesting to see how each of these teams want to perform and how Oblivion specifically is going to end up performing on their composition.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I think that Misfortune and Mumu can definitely have some good impact up against Heimerdinger and Blitzcrank, especially if Heimer isn't super attentive to where he's standing in relation to his turrets. Misfortune could easily still get some bounce shots sent on to him and do a little bit of annoying early game poking up against him. Mumu can still get some nice tethers off, some bandage tosses onto him. Obviously, the same thing can happen to them with the Blitzcrank, can just drag him right into all of Heimerdinger's turrets. So there's a lot of high damage potential on both sides. It just depends on who can hit their tether Q better.
And from what we're seeing in the draft here so far, it's looking like this is a Vayne jungle from Headhunt.
There's no way, right? There's no way.
I don't think so, but that's the way in which these champions have been locked in. Whether they swap or not, a completely different story. But it's definitely interesting to see how this is going to play out here.
What they could also do is a Heimer top and a Vayne ADC, maybe?
Yeah, for sure.
It's possible. Although I think that wouldn't be as damaging to LiT as if they put Heimerdinger down there. Like, it's just mutually assured destruction if they try to.
Yeah, now we're getting the swaps. Okay. So it is Vayne top, going to be playing into the Oran Kindred. So Vayne, Kindred, Vladimir, Heimerdinger, Blitzcrank, into Oran, Maokai, Silas, Misfortune, and Mumu. The top lane matchup is definitely going to be one to watch out for the most. If Vayne is going to be able to get so far ahead, she's known as the tank shredder. 3 tanks on one team, going to be a little bit difficult to play if Vayne does get super far ahead.
Yeah, and that is definitely one of the worries. Like I said, they are the ticking time bomb team. It's not just Vayne, it's also Vlad and Kindred that are also super annoying to deal with in the late game. Vladimir can just move all around, siphon all your health, just completely and utterly destroy you with the Hemophage is what I believe his ultimate is called. I'm really testing my knowledge on that one. But yeah, the longer this game goes on, again, I think that LiT has to do quite a bit in the early game in order to stay relevant.
Definitely. And the more that LiT does in this, like as you had mentioned, in this early game, to allow themselves to get the early leads and get the gold onto the Misfortune, onto the Silas, it will end up helping them in the long run. But with that being said, I believe that we're going to be taking a break and moving into game after a slight delay.
Back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade! Come on, get up,
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solo.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Boxer Pro in the midst of all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 Keep with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal up. And the call comes back in the circle, flip finds one. Can she find two? No, she gets shut down, and the exchange of lives is so insane. Can Maokai find the damage retrieval back? And he does, but unfortunately, it is the ace on the side of CLB that allows them to get this dragon.
Much later in the game, Big Bongo Boys chased Akali down in the bot lane, meaning that Clarity Black had so much freedom to take that first Baron, and from that Baron, they spiraled away from a teamfight and took the victory.
The higher ranked Clarity Black, and honestly, still
find
performing
Akali.
extremely well.
Oh, and she can't get out, simply tries to ulti over the wall, but that's crucial. 4 members sent down. This is the freest Baron I've seen, and it's incredibly hard to siege anything. As we're talking about that, the dragon does in fact spawn.
This will be a very important fight. Dragon Soul on the line. Let's see.
This is so easy, and the onslaught of shadows into all of the members. We talk about Wombo on one side, we talk about Wombo on the other side, but the whole time is not correctly pinned on enough members to make it worth it and to make it so they can make this comeback. And unfortunately, at the end, CLB take the lead, and they look to take the game.
And then as we rolled into game 2, Maokai was picked again.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring
Maokai, the Twisted Treant.
Maokai is a support tank hybrid.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Bold move.
Overall,
Normally Darius is only reserved for those counter picks, and it looks like they're just going to respond with Maokai.
And the team was entirely green, so they kind of had the aesthetic advantage for the Big Bongo Boys. For the first 22 minutes, I kind of got distracted watching the LCS. 100 Thieves did win, to a big surprise of all the casters, and then we moved back into the game, where Baron and Soulpoint were both hit here by CLB.
Towards this dragon, we do have good depth running up from base. Let's see if we can get here in time.
And this dragon is down to 9k HP. They opt to pull it out, so the potential steal is has a lot less potential to happen. The Maokai ulti for the engage. They want to make this happen. The Wombo combo, but the bullet time is just barely out of range, but it's not going to matter in the end. The Deathball comes too strong, but this Twitch is free firing in the backline. Good Death trying to stall time for his 80 carry, but in a 1v4, when you're already routed and they're already on top of you, they make it look easy.
With CLB taking a massive victory in the second game and this series. It seemed like the casters had gone to Hogwarts, because every single time they were casting and made predictions, they just put a caster curse down on poor Big Bongo Boys.
The series is taken by Clarity Black.
And that was Risen Unstoppable for the night. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Risen recap. Today we're looking towards Risen Unstoppable, and the stream started off with a bang, Quicksand asleep.
It's the first game of Unstoppable Risen Premade. Come on, get up,
But I gotta say, he was smooth once he rolled into it. And our first series was Big Bongo Boys playing up against Clarity Black. For the first 20 minutes of the game, it was a bit of fighting in the top lane, but not much happened besides that.
Oh, but the engage coming out from Sejuani, but it's trading back, and Maokai actually regenerated a lot more health than I would expected there.
For Boxer Squirrel, just really those kind of impacts making a huge difference in the gold.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I want to call them Triple B, BBB, or Big Bongo Boys, because they're not all same solo.
Then there was a mega turnaround fight for the Big Bongo Boys after they made a big dragon attempt, but then they got challenged again for the dragon attempt, which Big Bongo Boys won the fight towards.
On this side, and there's a 3v2 on the other side, but I can't punch to it, and I can't cut to it. But Boxer Squirrel in the midst of it all, unable to get too much out, but finds the Q before he's last. Dies, and Chicken Fried Rice 200 Keep with good depth does not unfortunately have the W enough up to heal up.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are in here with game number 3 of Oblivion eSports versus LiT eSports in the final week of Dominate, and I am joined here by Sherv.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? We're going to see some level 1 shenanigans come out here, as I think we're seeing a 5-stack and a 5-person invade. So it'll be interesting to see what type of shenanigans do occur if they do try to re-invade here as 5, and it looks like they might be doing so.
Yeah, I think that seems to be the play, but they've got intel on all sides. So either way, I think that LiT isn't a good place to counter this.
Absolutely, and it's pretty crucial. You know, if anyone on the side of Oblivion ends up getting an early lead, it's going to end up being a little bit difficult for LiT to end up actually performing in that regard. So, with the early game kind of being stabilized a little bit in regards to their jungle clears, we should be okay there. As we might be seeing a little bit of a cheeky late invade here. No,
I know.
we're,
Either
we're
that or
just
they're
we're
just gonna
just
turn down a
seeing
little ward.
yeah we're just seeing some saplings getting put together there.
Yeah. So overall, nothing too crazy going on here, but I mean, Youngling and Bardo support are looking to see if their opponents will make their way back the normal way, but a little bit too wise for that. I'm pretty sure they saw the turret coming up to this, so they'll be able to adequately avoid it.
And they do decide to go for the fake leash, or obviously giving a real leash, and then I believe that Dead Botting and Living Phoenix are going for the fake leash to show and say like, hey, we might have actually been on the red buff there. So not as much intel given over to the side of Oblivion Esports. LiT kind of keeping their cards close to their chest there.
Yeah, and I think that they're also assuming that they're going to get pushed on by Heimerdinger and Blitz no matter what, so they don't want to get caught out by the early level 2 from him. So I think that's also something that's influencing their decision there.
Absolutely, and it's something where if Kindred wants to, she could end up trying to go. If there's level 3 here for a stacked wave to try and go after she does her wolf camp here. But in my opinion, Kindred, just completely clear your jungle here. You could try and go for wolves, but I don't think that the wave is going to be stacked well enough bot side for a dive to occur. So you can just grab your wolves and then end up being on time for crab there.
Yep. And in the meantime, Vlad is just continuing to outfarm Silas. He's going to be going all in on him. Well, not all in on him. He's going to be trying to do a little bit of chip damage, but I mean, the fact that the minion wave was just so sizable is going to be meaning that he's not going to be too far up on Vlad, and the sustain is going to be a little bit there more for Vlad.
Absolutely. Now, Silas does have a little bit of sustain with his W, but he does have to hit it onto an enemy champ, right? It's not something that's, as easy as Vladimir, but it'll be interesting to see how this lane does play out, which lane will be getting more jungle attention, and how it'll end up playing out in regards to a priority standpoint.
He just did a lot of damage on her, and Vlad might be in a little bit of trouble here. His exit is going to be kind of zoned off, but the pool of blood, he's going to be going right down into it. Turret dive very early on, though, knocking him out from under, and Silas, there you go! First blood in his hands. Kindred not even going to get there in time.
First blood, a little bit of extra XP, maybe from some minions, but it also allows for Azriel to have a easier lane. Vlad did burn Ghost. Vlad did burn Flash, I do believe. So both crucial summoners down. Maokai should be looking to punish this every single chance he can get now.
Yeah, both the Ignite and the Ghost are going to be gone there for Vlad. So it's going to be making him a lot easier to deal with in this mid lane. And Kindred apparently got a little bit of intel on him here, but yeah, unfortunately not going to get there in time to counter smite it.
And it'll be interesting to see how often Maokai does look towards this mid lane to try and gank. If I was Maokai right now, yes, collect your camps, but I'd be instantly looking to hover on this mid lane here. You do have Vladimir who will naturally get pushed into Silas, so it's something where you can take advantage of the fact that he doesn't have any summoner spells.
Yeah, Vlad does always have his little W there, which does make him a little bit more difficult to hit, especially if he plays this close to the turret. If he can get a freeze there, that's the one thing that Silas has to make sure it doesn't happen, is that he gets a freeze strong in front of his turret.
And up top here, we're just seeing again another slobber knocking fight. Just fight after fight after fight, auto after auto after auto. Nothing too big changing hands here. No major summoners burned yet, but it's looking like we're gonna end up seeing potentially just like a base and a reset from this side of Oblivion Esports here. Silas was off the map. Vladimir saying, "Hey, my laner is missing. Most likely you're gonna be getting ganked bottom."
Yeah, and honestly, another thing that I've been super impressed about is the fact that Orin's been able to hit a lot of dashes onto the Vayne to keep things nice and even in the health department. It's not the easiest thing in the world to be hitting stuff, but what is kind of easier is hitting those bandage tosses 2 in a row for him, forcing him on back, turrets down. That will be sort of zoning them off, especially with the minion wave coming up. That would be a very difficult fight for them to win. But ooh, flashing on in, knocking him out of the wave, and the exhaust coming in as a very dead Heimerdinger, but Maokai might be next on the list. Mumu trying to come in for that support as well. Bardo support not going to be making it, and Kindred might very well be able to take down the both of them here. Bandage toss got to come back up in time, but it is not, so Kindred is going to be getting the 2-for-1 special.
And a very similar story to last game, right? Headhunt looking to get an early lead, gets 2 easy free kills there, just taking advantage of the fact that, hey, I'm coming to clean this up. I'm third partying this kill here, and able to grab a free mark onto the Raptors here. Will allow Kindred to, again, just have a little bit of an earlier lead over the side of LiT there. She does have 2 marks here before the 7-minute mark, so she will be able to hopefully snowball that lead that she has if Oblivion want to end up taking this game.
That was some good damage by the Orin until Set puts 3 autos right on back. So yeah, IQ, he's going to be stuck under his turret from this point forward. Vayne with ult is something you absolutely have to be fearing. But ooh, some great damage being done by Azriel. I think that he just got ulted on by the... Yes, he did just get ulted on, so this could be a very difficult situation for him. The W does come out from Azriel and will be completely draining him down to 0 before the Blitzcrank can even roam onto him. But might still be able to get the better of this Maokai. Yeah, he's about to get surrounded and pounded by a Heimerdinger. Literally everybody just getting caught out there in the jungle.
And what's crazy is that Vayne lived with single-digit HP up top, so the Ornn very, very close to getting a kill onto the Vayne, which would have been huge for Ornn in regards to surviving this lane here. Kindred, again, starting up the Dragon, definitely a lot easier to take this, as we mentioned last game, when you do have a Heimerdinger with his turrets to help deal a little bit of extra damage. Blitzcrank, always great to have him soak some of the damage so you can continue farming after you end up completing it there. And again, on the side of Oblivion, they're getting themselves an early lead on their main carry once again.
Yeah, that Kindred is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Maokai, you see, off of his respawn is instantly going up to clear that mark for her over there on his Gromp. So definitely something to be a little bit cautious of. That he's doing a good job of keeping her from getting as many as possible, but the kills are still starting to really amount in her favor. It's a lot of marks to be getting this early in the game, and so yeah, you got to get someone else fed in order to counteract this.
Absolutely, and it's not even just the fact of like, hey, you know what, she has 2 kills, but it's also the fact of like, she has more farm than the Maokai as well, so she has a little bit more of a tempo advantage. It looks like we're seeing ourselves a gank here.
Oh yes, indeed we are. Vayne gonna be trying to get on out of here, but no mana whatsoever, but that's not where a lot of her damage lies in. Should be able to get the 3rd auto off, but not quite gonna be able to get out of there. True Sight was gained on her even though she was invisible, so she will be dying there to the Maokai at the end of the day because he got his little man on her.
Yeah, and it just allows for a free Herald on the side of LiT, something where they're going to be able to put a little bit more gold onto the Silas or onto this Misfortune to allow themselves to have that main carry who has the gold, who can heavily impact these fights, and who could potentially take down this Kindred.
Yep, absolutely. And so, yeah, that's going to be meaning that Vayne is going to be missing a decent amount of farm here, as well as losing a turret play. That's going to be incredibly beneficial for the Ornn to be getting. In the mid lane, Silas is still looking pretty good in terms of kills, even though Vlad has been doing a little bit better of a job of farming than him.
Absolutely, and it's something where, yes, Silas does have the 2-kill advantage, but Vladimir's been farming incredibly efficiently. And it's really tough for this Misfortune to even try and farm when there's a Blitzcrank hook that could just hit her from out of nowhere. So there is, again, a CS advantage that is going over to the Heimerdinger, a natural push advantage as well. Something that I would assume Maokai or Folly Fox would have to bail them out on, but it looks like we're going to end up seeing a gank here.
Gotta be careful here. Mark of Kindred is going to be on Silas, so he knows something is not all right here, especially since his opponent has quite a lot more health. There's not a lot of reason for him to be doing anything other than standing under turret, but that does free up Vlad to go for a little bit of a roam if he does so desire.
Absolutely, and Vlad and the Kindred could end up coming bot side here if they did want to end up trying to hard force and shove the wave that is coming out from the side of Younglin and Bardo support. They could end up, eliminating this wave rather quickly to end up trying to set up for a dive, but it looks like that's not what's going to happen. Allow your carries to go back, collect their tier 2 items, allow them to continue to, snowball their lead rather than waste additional time on the map.
And for Vlad, I do believe that is going to be the Night Harvester that he's going to be looking to get right now. That's an item that's been really good on him in recent history because it makes you go faster, and it does also an incredible amount of damage along with ability haste. So yeah, that's something that as soon as Vlad gets, I think Silas might be in a little bit of trouble. even though
Night
he's still ahead.
Harvester, absolutely, for sure. It'll certainly be a little very effective, and as well as Cosmic Drive. When Vlad gets Cosmic Drive, that's basically when his major power spike happens. Like you had said, the additional movement speed, and he can still do a ton of damage. So it'll be interesting to see how he wants to impact the map and how quickly he can get to those spikes. Considering he has had some jungle help and does have a CS lead currently over Azale.
Yeah, and he might get another gank coming in here, 2 for the price of, well, he's about to have a 3v1 up against Silas here, but still standing under the turret is going to be making it hard for them to do this, so Kendra's going to just, say, you know what, Silas, he's obviously aware of this, so we're just going to take a ward and maybe go for the chickens here as well. Oh no, going on in, and this might be a little bit of danger for Silas. He dashed in, so he's not going to be able to dash out. Instantly gets enveloped by both their ganking members, so not much he can really do there.
Definitely not a lot you can do, unfortunately, and now you're just going to end up giving yourself quite a bit of gold onto the Kindred, and once again, and still some relieving the pressure from the Vladimir as well to allow him to free farm, scale into the later parts of this game where he will end up doing more damage. And Kindred is just being able to do whatever she wants on the map. With the Dragon coming up in about 35 seconds here, Younglin and Bardo support do have the push in bot lane. It will allow Kindred to just collect her Gromp, then walk down and take Dragon pretty easily, considering that Vlad is going to end up keeping Volley Fox and the Maokai preoccupied here. So realistically, Dragon should be taken off spawn here.
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely. Kindred still going to be, has some eyes on them, Volley Fox, so knows exactly what they're thinking, but knowing doesn't always help. Are you actually going to be able to do something about this? I'm not quite sure. Ooh, Vlad might be getting cut out here. Goes down in the pool of blood, but it's going to be coming out here now. Ult's just dropping left, right, and center. Silas might be in a little bit of trouble here, especially if he can't get his W off. But he does, trying to go back in for more. Does get the one hit onto Vlad, but Vlad does too much damage. Even more damage being done by Silas, just hitting him with the passive. So that is going to be a strong little kill. 1-for-1 trade. 1-for-2 trade, actually.
And that's crazy in regards to that trade there. Kindred looked like she was going to be on time. Unfortunately, Vladimir should have just stuck closer to a little bit of his teammates there in regards to that, because now they're just giving up a free dragon, and most likely this Herald will be running towards the bottom side where dead botting will end up needing a lot of that gold. And that's a really interesting...
That's funny pathing right there.
Spaghetti code? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be just going and doing some immense damage to the red turret there. It's definitely some good... I don't know. I think it's good. It's especially considering they dropped it on the dragon there. And now they know exactly where the Kindred is, completely away from her mark up top. So maybe they're going to try and contest her for this, but nah, forcing the smite out, easy pickings for Kindred.
And those Hextech gates, they are incredibly beneficial when you are trying to steal something and get out. Does make counter jungling a little bit easier. And we have gotten word from production here that update from another game, if LiT has to win, otherwise they do not make playoffs. So this is do or die for our fellas on blue side here. So it'll be interesting to see. I would assume that they obviously just wanted to win the game to regardless, but to win and you're in, that just adds so much more pressure in regards to the stage of this game and how they're going to try and make this a winning and salvageable game for themselves.
That is 100% correct. They do manage to clear out the Kindred mark once again, and Silas does have the blue buff, I think, to try and make him a little bit more potent up against this now. Item up Vlad. He does have his Night Harvester, where his opponent does not. Orenhorn coming on in to try and give some assistance. Knocks up the Heimerdinger effectively. Massive damage being done by the bounce shot. And bullet time is afoot here, ladies and gentlemen. Bardo getting nice and knocked off, but I don't think that body's going to be able to get up here. Ooh, the bounce shot through the mini turret is not just going to be enough. How much HP does this guy have? I need to see right now. 24 HP is going to be what Heimerdinger is left with there.
And he's going to be left with it there, and they're going to be able to collect this first turret. Heimerdinger getting a ton of gold, utilizing a lot on the map. Even the Warren Ultimate, something that they didn't really necessarily plan to use, I don't think. And now it's just allowing for Headhunt, again, to collect extra marks, collect extra farm, get further ahead on this Maokai. And now Heimerdinger gets to basically scale for free into this later game, and now they get to affect the map. So Oblivion, very similar to what they did last game, they're going to be able to run around the map and do whatever they want to do here.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking to get a little bit of a kill on a Stet here, but Blitzcrank is now roaming towards the top. They're going to be looking to get control over this Rift Herald regardless. So there's a lot of reasons for them to come up here and help Stet out. So I think this is going to be the next big fight, but in my opinion, it's still favored to Oblivion.
Absolutely, Oblivion do have a very strong composition here, and they do have a lead on that Heimerdinger that will be able to impact fights. But we're starting to see some shenanigans go on here.
Oh, they're in trouble. They're in such deep trouble. Amumu trying to come in here with the stopwatch, but that's not going to be safe in here, dude. You are so incredibly dead. That's 3 for free into the hands of Oblivion. Misfortune, in the meantime, is going to be looking to take this bottom side turret, which is going to be a little bit of benefit for them. And Silas is going to do as much as he can to this mid lane turret, but they don't even really need all these players, so they're going to be just knocking Silas off of this.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is something where, you know, they do collect the second Herald. Second Herald doesn't have a ton of value in regards to that. I guess they're just going to collect it and summon it right away, just so that Vladimir does end up getting the gold. But Dead Bonding was able to collect an entire turret plate and plus multiple waves by themselves, so they will be able to end up getting towards their second item a little bit sooner rather than later, and they'll just start rotating. So this Hextech Dragon coming up in the next minute and 30 seconds, you want to rotate your bot lane towards mid, send the Silas bot lane, keep your Ornn top side, just to see if there's anything that they can do, collect some waves, maybe collect a tower, and end up staying safe, because you want to end up getting more of this farm onto the Misfortune and make sure that everything's taken care of that on that side.
Yeah, and there is potential for them to get some damage done on the top side turret. Mumu trying to get a little bit of intel, but Kindred's a little bit closer than he was hoping, so it takes a little bit of damage for that. At least can be keeping them nice and away from that. In the meantime, Silas trying to take a little bit of a fight here with Heimerdinger, but he's not necessarily favored in that. Blitzcrank might be he's going to speed up and get on out of here. So, yeah, amounting to nothing, but things are starting to really set up for this dragon here, Sherv.
And sometimes the threat of a hook is better than the actual hook itself. Barter support holding onto his hook there, does decide to use it there, but unfortunately does whiff. But now the threat isn't there anymore. What's the worst thing that can happen? Heimerdinger turrets, Heimerdinger stun, but Blitzcrank is basically ineffective at this point. So it does allow them to move into the river pretty scot-free, even though they don't have the priority there. If they wanted to, the side of Oblivion could end up collapsing pretty heavily onto LiT here.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Their Vayne is going to be top still with Ornn, but I mean, all of their major damage dealers are still going to be here and ready to go. I'm pretty sure that the hook is still going to be back up by the time that this fight actually does get going on here. So, yeah, I still think that Vlad could be an incredibly impactful person, especially now that he's got one of these needlessly large rods.
And I don't quite understand what Dead Bonding is doing here, right? So they're sitting in the bottom side of the jungle here. They're literally just giving away mid-waves here. They're letting mid-waves die when Misfortune needs the gold here. They're allowing themselves to lose that mid-priority for what? To end up being collapsed upon potentially on this dragon, to potentially grab the second dragon. If they were able to push through the mid lane and then rotate and grab this dragon, it's going to end up giving more gold for Dead Bonding, as well as ending up giving them a little bit more map pressure, rather than just letting waves die at the mid lane tier 2 here.
I mean, yeah, they do at least get the dragon uncontested, which is going to be a little bit of a let-off for them in that situation at the very least. But, I mean, yeah, they're going to lose a lot of minions, as you said, that Misfortune desperately needs. If you look at the minion difference between her and pretty much anybody on the enemy team, the only one that's close to her is Kindred, and Kindred has got a lot more benefit from other things than she does.
Absolutely, right? And it's something where there's a ton of map pressure even being put on from the side of Oblivion eSports, where, you know, again, the threat of the Blitzcrank hook coming in through the middle of the jungle, right? They are setting up for, you know, a rather early Baron. You have 2 marksmen and a tank, right? You have 2 marksmen and a pseudo tank in Blitzcrank that's able to soak up a lot of that Baron pressure and ended up allowing Kindred and Vayne to end up free farming off of this Baron. So if they are able to get the push in the side lanes that are adjacent to Baron, they'll be able to take it for free.
Uh-oh, might be time for bullet time. There it is, getting him nice and stuck. And yeah, that should be it. A lot of ults coming out, though, for just 1 kill, in my personal opinion. At least they're able to get the Blitzcrank, which might make them second-guess going for the Baron since their pseudo-tank is gone. But that's still a lot of kill pressure gone for just 1 guy, in my opinion, sure.
And but unfortunately, that's what you have to spend at this point in the game, right? Anytime you can have a +1 play like that, hey, we got a kill. Yes, we had to burn a lot for it, but we got a kill. That's a win. You have to take that if you're the side of LiT and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to end up looking to take the kill here. We're going to end up looking to take away the Blitzcrank and see what we can do. Give ourselves a little bit less pressure. But yeah, they may give up Baron here because they don't have any vision, unfortunately.
Yeah, so apparently Baron's still going to be looked for by the side of Oblivion. They know that they've got the damage in order to do it. Let's crank back up and ready to go, and they are absolutely none the wiser. So yeah, really, Baron for free. It's gonna be a rough thing to react to LiT eSports.
And that's what's tough, is that when you have the ability, when you get that pick on the mid lane, you have to understand what objectives are coming up next, right? The next objective that was coming up at that point in time is Baron. Push him to wave a little bit more, grab some vision, maybe even just like, shallow vision inside the river, so at least your vision's covered on that perspective and that you can at least know what's going on, instead of just instantly basing, right? You use the initiative, you use all these ultimates to end up giving yourself an opportunity to get a kill here. At least get some vision with it instead of just a kill.
Right, and just looking at that top turret, it is just squeaking by with like 1 HP here. I'm honestly a little bit shocked that it hasn't been taken down yet. It's just like 1 minion damage away from it, but Vayne's been doing a good job of keeping Orin off of it, and that would actually be quite a little bit of gold that I would be looking to get if I were LiT eSports, obviously when the Baron is done.
Yeah, at this point you have to overload side lanes, right? You have to try and get something. You have to try and get some freestanding gold on the map. It's going to be incredibly difficult regardless of what lane you want to try to go to, just because they're able to do whatever they want on the map at this point. Because they have the Heimerdinger, who's super far ahead. They have the Vladimir, who has a ton of mobility. They have the Kindred, who is substantially further ahead than the Maokai. I believe it's about an 800 gold difference right now, but if you just look at the items, yes, Maokai does have 2 completed items. However, cheapest mythic in the game in regards to Frostfire, and cheapest tier 2 boots in the Ionian Boots of Lucidity. So it'll be interesting to see how they do want to play
the miss! It missed! The Orin ult miss! Gonna try and come in here to save MF, but absolutely not gonna be happening. Orin might very well be able to get her, but the auto attack speed is just too much for Vayne at this point. He gets 2 for the price of absolutely nothing. Might be able to get this turret here as well. That is a immensely big blow to LiT eSports. Silas trying to get something back here, but nothing quite going to be landing, and they're gonna be shoved over their final mid turret.
And Vayne just allowed to do whatever she wants on the map here, right? There wasn't a ton of attention brought there. They didn't overload a side lane. Vayne's just allowed to free auto these tanks. Vayne is a tank shredding champion. That is what she is known for. So for the Orin to be there solo, kind of difficult. You'd have to commit another form of another champion at least, whether it be the Silas or whether it be the Misfortune, to come up and at least try to match in terms of damage. But in regards to that, this Vayne is just really far ahead.
Yeah, this Misfortune was actually there trying to help him out, but nothing really to be done, especially since Orin missed his ultimate. But here we go again. Respite coming in, as well as the Zhonya's Hourglass trying to push them out, and they do get them out of the summoning circle of death. But ooh, bullet time is going to be stopped by Bardo support. Huge damage being done there. But Heimerdinger going to be popping the upgrade, is going to be meaning that he should be able to survive this for the time being. But Silas closing the distance, only closes distance into his own death via Heimerdinger turrets.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they do get a lot there, right? The play essentially is almost even in regards to the kill death, but if you look at pressure on the map, Heimerdinger's able to collect a turret, able to collect an inhibitor. He's most likely going to be able to collect this mid inhibitor turret as well. So not much that the side of LiT can do here. Hopefully they can get the pick here.
Oh, that's a big shutdown though.
Absolutely, definitely a big shutdown, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Blitzcrank's items as well. He's got Anathema Chains now, which I think he's going to be putting on the Misfortune to mitigate the damage coming out of her, so that's going to be pretty good there as well. Dragon setup is going to be here, but the TP coming in from Silas, looking to catch him out here. Ult coming in as well. There you go, big damage onto the Kindred. Ult still not back up yet, so that's going to be meaning their Dragon potential is basically gone. Vayne in a little bit of trouble here as well, and not going to be able to escape Vlad. Bullet penetrating Vayne and going straight into Vlad, just slightly out of range for Silas's chains to be hitting him. Trying to pull a blood his way on out of here, but I don't think that's quite going to be happening, so this should be a very free third Dragon for the side of LiT eSports. That could be a game changer.
Absolutely, that's a huge gold swing in my opinion. However, they will need to get back into their lanes and start pushing them out for this Baron that's about to spawn in the next minute and 40 seconds. That is a very huge win for the side of LiT. Definitely a step in the right direction, and they do collect a free bounty there. But in my opinion, you need to start pushing out the top lane. You need to start pushing out the mid lane. Commit 3 members to that top side. Grab that turret that's free, and then start to look towards Baron and potentially having a fight there.
Silas getting long-ranged, long-hand clawed, but yeah, he's basically almost dead here, trying to sustain himself off of Heimerdinger's health, but it's not quite going to be working. That is a great assassination play from Heimerdinger and Blitzcrank especially.
Absolutely, and they have the vision on them to be able to do that, right? So they have the vision, they know what's going to be going on. Heimerdinger has enough gold and enough damage to be able to end up, doing exactly what he wants to be able to do. And I don't understand what exactly LiT are trying to accomplish here. Yes, you are collecting the standing gold that is in your jungle. However, if you're not able to push out this top lane and potentially even grab this top lane tower, then you're not going to be able to contest Baron, and you're just going to be giving up Baron to a team that has already shown they know how to use it, right? Last time they had Baron, they collected, I believe it was 3 towers, and a ton of kills that allowed them to have the gold lead that they currently have right now. So start pushing out those adjacent side lanes. Yes, I know it'll be unfortunate to allow Stet to farm for free. Maybe send Silas to match, but have your Ornn, have your Misfortune, have your Mumu start to push out this this top lane here. Even if it does end up having yourself losing priority in one of the lanes, you just can't afford to give up this Baron at this point in time.
Ooh, yeah, they're really looking for a hook on this guy, but he's not looking to give it away to him. In the meantime, yeah, like you said, you've got a wall of intel up in here for the side of Oblivion. They're going to be going in for this now while Stet goes in for the rotation. He sucks 3 members into him, and that is going to be great value as they're going to get the Baron very, very easily for this now. No possibility for a contest, and it could very well be 3 more turrets.
Absolutely. That is probably the best consolation prize that you could have gone for. Obviously, overloading the bottom side, getting the pick onto the Vayne. Maybe this potentially allows them to shift and try to get some damage onto that freestanding gold. I believe that turret literally only has 11 HP on it.
Yep.
So it's something where, if they're able to get that turret, that is still quite a bit of gold. If they do collect that tower, it is going to be 250 gold into his team's pocket that they do desperately need at this point in time.
Yeah, that's definitely something I would be looking at if I were these guys, if I were in their shoes. Silas still doing a good job of clearing up the mid wave, but Kindred with full control over the jungle is going to be making their ability to push up here a little bit diminished because of the flank potential. And they realize this, instantly going to go up to where they have more vision and try and group up, as it seems like they think that their opponents are looking to collapse on their base. Not too shocking because they have the Baron buff.
Absolutely. And it's something where if Oblivion does try to start in sinking their waves here, which I believe that would start by having Stet move down to that bottom side. Yes, he doesn't have Baron, but because he is playing Vayne, he would inherently have a ton of pressure. Vayne doesn't even have her mythic yet. She's on 3 items though and tier 2 boots. So it'll be interesting to see how they do want to play this, whether they do try to 1-4 or they do try to send Vayne onto the side lane by herself.
Yep, but it seems that they're trying to use the Baron buff to take this mid inhib as well. Silas managing to snag an ult from the Kindred, but not able to hit her with the Everfrost. Just trying to keep them off of this as much as humanly possible, using the turrets to defend the cannon minion. Very, very good stuff there from the Heimerdinger, and that's going to be meaning that they get full control over that. Going to be letting the minions just go ever so further and try and do some damage, but the wave is going to be stopping right then and there. So instead, they're going to be looking for this mark for Kindred.
Yeah, absolutely looking for the mark, also looking for someone who's going to try and, try to peek something that isn't necessarily available to them because they don't have the vision. But again, if you look at this bottom lane here, the bottom wave state, imagine if this wave was pushing into the side of LiT. There'd be an opportunity for them to pressure, for them to continue using their Baron, but now it's just not there. Like, there's nothing for them to be able to use. So they're kind of stuck in this, weird, I don't know what to do. We'll play for a pick, I guess, because we have no lane management here. So it'll be something where they need to end up getting the push onto these adjacent waves. They will naturally have it onto the mid wave because this dragon is coming up, and it will be soul point for LiT.
Uh-oh. Is this going to be another Silas assassination coming out here from Blitzcrank? It's looking like it. He does have the Banshee's Veil, so it's going to be making it so that he can't just grab him on in there because it will deny the CC, the Banshee's Veil, so that's a good pickup for Silas. He really took that assassination to heart. But regardless, the intel is going to be here. They know exactly where their opponents are going to be setting up. It's going to be a 5-man v 5-man. It's just going to depend on who can land the initial CC, I think.
And if you look, Silas has an amazing flank here. This is something where if he's able to get onto the Heimerdinger or onto the Vayne, it's going to be an amazing flank for them to have, especially because I believe he does have
Main's just
either the
destroying this
Maokai
thing.
ult.
Maokai ult indeed, and same thing with the Oran Horn going on in, knocking everybody up with the bullet time as well. Kindred only going to be able to save herself, and it will not be for long, ladies and gentlemen. Sal's going in, trying to just hook down to this Heimerdinger. That is a massive, massive turnaround for the Soul, no less, ladies and gentlemen. This can still be won by LiT eSports.
Absolutely, and if you look at that fight, that's the best fight that they've played all series. Perfectly set up in regards to, obviously they're letting the mid wave push in because it's naturally just going to push into them, but they are able to push through the front side of the river towards the mid lane. Silas does get the flank that he desperately needs, ends up using his ability to jump onto the back line. That basically creates a split fight. Are you going to focus onto the Silas, or are you going to focus onto the Maokai and the Orin and the Misfortune that are just punching you right in the face?
Yeah, and the Hex Tech Soul as well now in their hands can be doing a lot of damage for Misfortune, especially in the Silas. I'm starting to look at their damage possibility, and it is starting to look pretty endless. They are still down 6k gold, sure, so I don't think that's going to be the biggest of issues for them right now just because of what I saw in that last fight.
Absolutely, and I think it was more the case that the side of Oblivion eSports, they weren't able to get their troop damage potential out in that fight. There were too many things that were forcing them to not be able to actually get damage out in regards to the stun from Amumu. Amumu had, I believe it was a 3 or 4 person ultimate. So when you have that many people stunned and then they're also getting hit in the face with a bullet time, it's not going to be fun for anybody. They're going to end up spending most of their abilities to get out of the fight rather than to do damage in the fight.
And in the meantime, this bottom wave push, I think, is a great idea. Splitting the side lanes, trying to get at least something out of this. In the meantime, Blitzcrank is looking for yet another assassination onto anybody. They've got firm intel on this Maokai, and Kindred thinking about it, but thinking better of it. But ooh, still gonna get punished. Bullet time once again, ladies and gentlemen. And it is looking like Death City, courtesy of Silas. Vladimir trying to get away with his ultimate, the Hemoplague, but it's not going to be working. Silas, give him the Penta, ladies and gentlemen. He's going for it. He doesn't care about these turrets. Maybe he should, but he is still not going to be caring about these tournaments. Deadbotting, denying the Penta, and Silas will be dying at the end of the day, but Vayne at least getting an inhib for his entire team dying.
And yes, they get the inhib, but unfortunately, Vayne is only one champion at this point in time. If the side of LiT do decide to go for this, they need to run to the Baron right now. Deadbotting needs to get there instantly, as she would be the main source of damage for this side of LiT. They can end up going with Baron, pushing out these sideways, basically having the inhibitor be a non-factor at this point in time. The spawn timers are still way too long on the side of Oblivion here, where Heimer isn't going to be up for another 20 seconds. The Baron will be gone at that point in time.
Oh, yeah.
Kindred did just get off the map. Yes, there are Hextech gates available, but the Baron is going to be gone. Now they get the free Baron. They got the dragons. They got the shutdowns. Now they're going to be able to have themselves the ability to end up coming back into this game.
Oh, brother, that's a lot of damage. We're going to be seeing that Baron just evaporating right before our very eyes. And so I'm starting to get a little bit more worried. I was saying as this game goes on, it really benefits Oblivion, but that is clearly not the case. On paper, I would think that would be, but it's really not. Pushing out all these lanes now, despite the fact that they're passively pushing to them, and finally getting a lot of their opponents' intel out of their jungles. If you're looking at the intel game, it's really started to drastically shift into the hands of LiT as well.
Absolutely, I would completely agree. I think that a lot of the changes in this later game is due to the team fight selection. Maokai getting the ultimate and pushing into and getting Amumu with the multiple individual ultimate, allowing the Maokai to chain CC and the Misfortune to be able to stand completely protected and use the bullet time to absolutely pump out damage, because there is no real true tank on the side of Oblivion outside of Blitzcrank, right? So if he's not going to be the one soaking the damage, there's not going to be anyone else that can.
Now that's an interesting thing you don't see every day as well, Abyssal Mask on Amumu. That's something that I don't normally see a whole lot, but what you also don't see a whole lot is this. I think Heimerdinger might have just blew it with his turret placement there, unfortunately, so the jig is up, especially with Maokai checking it with his little man there. So yeah, they were trying to set up for yet another assassination play, but just didn't quite work out for them.
I mean, if you look at the side of Oblivion eSports, right? Who is their main source of damage when they are in these team fights? It's Heimerdinger and the turrets, right? So the additional so the additional magic resist does come in handy. Are there better items to do it? Absolutely, but the
Oh, they're gonna catch him out now as well. Curse of the Sad Mummy, but still gonna be able to get the Zhonya's off, but it doesn't really matter. It is gonna be him completely and utterly dead. Amumu just trying to follow this guy down. Is gonna be able to kill him. Pool going down for Vlad, trying to get this Hemo Plague off, but kinda can't. Still at least able to get the Amumu on the way out, but not completely worth it. They're gonna try and catch this Vayne now as well. Ornhorn coming in as Silas TPs. Gonna really have to try and lock her down, but her movement speed is gonna be here. Trying to flash on in here is gonna be Silas. Gonna be able to catch her at the end of the day. Assassination should be here for him, but Vayne's damage is pretty sizable as well. Too close to the wall, and Orin trying to give a little bit of assistance where assistance is needed. W coming in, and there you go. Finally shutting down Stet. This top turret is looking incredibly, incredibly juicy right now. If it wasn't for the Elder Dragon coming up in 40 seconds. They're going to be able to catch out Maokai as well. Just going for the Kindred, if at all possible, knocking her just barely out of bullet time, but it's going to be making it so that they cannot follow.
And this essentially gives a free Elder Dragon to the side of LiT. If you look at the death timers here, Stet is going to be dead for 35 seconds. Elder Dragon is going to be up in that time. They're not going to have one of their biggest damage dealers on the map or one of their bigger split threats to end up distracting the side of LiT. So with that being said, Misfortune will have to start pushing out that mid lane there. Actually grab the tier 1 turret would be a great start to that. And then look to see how they can position themselves in this fight here.
Yeah, and I like the Cyrilda's Grudge pickup from MF as well. Every time she does a little bit of damage, especially in the bullet time, no one's going to be able to get away from it. It slows people down every single hit you'd make. And so, I think that's going to be a great pickup, especially considering that they've been able to CC them so hard in a lot of these situations. This is, I think, a disaster potentially waiting to happen for Oblivion eSports. They've got to fight this, though. The Elder Dragon giving up would definitely cement the possibility of the comeback for the side of LiT eSports, and they're not even going to be trying to really go for it. They're kind of, are they really giving this up, or are they just coming in from a different angle? Or are they just going to try to take this mid inhib? Either way, they're not going to be able to take this.
They're going to try and end the game with the supers that they have going towards the base here.
Ooh, that's a good option for them here. Silas trying to desperately get back in time. This mid inhib is going to be meaning it's going to be a little bit difficult. Silas does get back in time, but will they be able to get back with enough numbers to stop this? I think the answer is emphatically going to be yes, forcing the flash out from him. And oh, coming in, ult not even doing a damn thing for Vladimir. Bardo support about to die here now as well, and that is going to be, yeah, Elder Dragon well and truly coming into effect for them.
Absolutely, and it was a major fight there that did allow them to end up capitalizing on that.
Yeah, in the meantime, Orin just making sure that this top inhib is not going to be able to be cracked by Vayne. She's going to be a little bit closer than you might think, so she will definitely be able to crack this top inhib. But in the meantime, they should still be able to start taking these towers that they still have not done yet. This could be the one saving grace for the side of Oblivion, is how many turrets they still have up.
Absolutely, that's a ton of standing gold. The issue is that if you're looking at, yes, the gold lead, it could only be about a 1,000 gold lead, but if you look at the side on the items of LiT, Forge Fire Crest upgraded, or sorry, Sunfire upgraded into a Forge Fire Crest on the Ornn. The Frostfire Gauntlet upgraded into the Rime Forged Grasp. The Eternal Winter for Silas. The Sacrifice for Misfortune, and the Equinox for the Amumu. That's a ton of extra gold that we're not necessarily seeing in regards to stats.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just a little bit worried about the potential for the backdoor. You do notice that they do have a little bit of a what's it called, teleport potential down in there. No, never mind. None of them even have teleport, so I don't know why I'm quite bringing that up.
So there are opportunities for Oblivion eSports to end up still, on the front foot of this game after they did have a lead for an incredibly long period of time. It would start with actually defending this Baron, but it looks like they're going to try and force a triple inhib on the side of LiT eSports here.
Yeah, although as soon as they get this Baron, they're going to instantly be able to TP home. So they're instantly going to be TPing home. Great pickup from them. So this should be an easily defendable final turret for them.
Should be, absolutely, but we've seen some crazy things happen this game, so it'll be dependent on exactly how Oblivion want to fight this round here. Hopefully not getting picked out by the Maokai or by the Ornhorn, and seeing what they're trying to do here. They have the Heimer stacked up and ready to go in that lane brush there.
Oh my god. Silas. He does have the Banshee's Veil on, so they do have to remove that, Vlad, if they do want the hook to be successful from Bardo support. And so yeah, how's this going to really work out? They really need him to pop that thing. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to effectively claw him in. And you see, he's incredibly worried about it. And he was right to be. He's going to get confirmation of that now.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate that sometimes you can't stop the Heimerdinger turrets from attacking. Imagine if he's just able to walk for free through the turrets and ending up getting womboed there. That'd be pretty dire for the side of LiT eSports. But it looks like we're going to see a skirmish come down here on this bottom lane to see exactly who's going to end up winning this game here.
Damn, this is truly a fight to the finish, though. 40 minutes and counting, and we still could have really anybody be winning here. But the potential for LiT eSports to, if they do lose a big fight, to lose right off of that is huge. So they do have to really walk on eggshells around this Bardo support, aka Blitzcrank. So yeah, there is something to be a little bit worried about there. They do take the Baron buff, but still really no turrets from that yet. They've been basically stuck in their base with the Baron buff.
Well, they've also been able to collect all the standing golds from the super minions that are coming as well. It's going to be something where they're able to get some more gold on the Sylas, who's basically going to be full build at this point. Orin's almost full build. You have the Maokai, who's going to end up looking to be full build after using the Elixir of Iron. And then Misfortune, obviously, looking to get her last item as well.
Yeah, that's true, and yeah, that item lead is starting to really develop for them. It's something that is going to be helping them out a little bit more than their opponents, as you just mentioned, and they're going to be having to give up this bot side lane in order to get a little bit of something else going on here. Elder Dragon coming up in another minute and a half, so this is, again, another chance for Oblivion eSports to pull one over on their opponents.
Absolutely, and if we're looking at the side of Oblivion, Kindred, after the amazing start to the game, hasn't really done much after that. So if they're only at 8 marks in a 41-minute game, something where you'd expect to see a lot more, and maybe that's the reason for the stall of this game, is that there isn't enough of a lead for this Kindred to officially take over and look to kind of carry as they did in game 2.
Yeah, that's pretty true. I think they've been very effective at denying the marks inside of their jungles. The only marks that they've really given up are the ones on themselves, so I think that's something that's definitely good to be bringing up here. And with 40 seconds before this does go down, clearing of the vision is going to be in order for them, doing a pretty dang good job of that, except there is still a little bit of vision inside the Dragon Pit itself. So, with everybody starting to stack up, I'm starting to think that it's looking good for LiT eSports again.
Absolutely, they have the composition that wants to be ran into. Much easier for them to operate that way and have it so that Oblivion eSports is running into them instead of them running into the Blitzcrank or running into the Heimerdinger. So it will be interesting to see how they do play throughout this Dragon fight. Looking to prioritize that mid push, which is great, but unfortunately, is it going to be too little, too late for the side of LiT?
Yeah, I think that Oblivion is doing a good job of threatening the end if they do go for this Elder. So what they're going to be doing is sucking them all in towards Vayne, and ooh, Blitzcrank getting ready with the vision to do something here. In the meantime, bot side turret is going to be getting taken. So this is great, just overall macro gaming coming in from the side of Oblivion eSports. Now coming to force the Dragon fight. Kindred is going to be on it. But what are they going to do in response to this? Maokai going to go in, flashes on in, and roots them all up. Big damage, and it is bullet time once again, ladies and gentlemen. And they just evaporate from the face of the earth. Big damage being done to Vayne as well. And Sylas will be shutting her down. But first turret is going to be taken from Vlad. Still got to be worried and trying to go for the steal. Kindred does get the steal, ladies and gentlemen. And so we'll be able to escape with it as well. Vladimir is a little bit of an extra threat here now since he does have this execute potential.
Absolutely, it is something where, there is an issue where, Kindred just trying to stay alive at this point.
Yeah, really just trying to make the most out of this. And again, these turrets all being up is going to be meaning that the same potential that ooh, there you go, the execute again onto Sylas. Just taking him down from 20% HP or something like that. Anyway,
yeah, looking
Kindred's
like it.
Still being alive, and it's just kiting him on out. Only one turret left up. Inhibs do respawn, but yeah, I don't think that enough is being done fast enough in order for them to, oh yeah, Kindred about to get to that potential where she can kill him once again.
Why? Oh,
Yeah.
why did you queue that way? It's okay though. They do end up getting some staggered bases here from the side of LiT eSports. There is a Baron coming up in 30 seconds. Unfortunately, no junglers are going to be up for it, so I don't think it'll be prioritized by either team. So it'll be interesting to see. The base has been broken on the side of LiT eSports. How much longer can they hold this? How much longer can they decide to push forward and not end up gaining any actual territorial advantage in regards to towers? There's a top lane tier 1 tower that I believe has been on 11 HP for a solid 25 minutes here. So
True.
what are we doing here, right? Let's send some few people top. Let's try to get some things put together, and let's see what we can do in regards to actually pushing the map here and looking to actually win this game.
Oh, here we go. This is going to be it, I do believe, Sherv. The Baron take, as well as their good macro, should be enough for them to finally break these inhibs and this one final turret for them. It just really depends on if they can get this split push effectively. That's how they were able to get those bot side turrets, Vlad going bottom and good old Vayne going top. They could easily switch that around, but I honestly don't know if their opponents in LiT are going to be able to easily deal with something like that. A lot of their benefits in their team fights have been as team fights and not like 2v2 situations.
Absolutely, it's been something where they've been able to have a Mumu lock down a few champions on the enemy team, maybe some, one or two of the major carries, while Maokai is able to follow up on that, and then Misfortune is able to use the bullet time. So it'll be interesting to see how they want to fight like this, whereas Oblivion is basically just going to be able to do whatever they want.
I just noticed Vayne's items as well. She went no mythic. She went Force of Nature and Randuin's, really wanting to not die here. And oh, they get a grab out of the Orin, but is that the person you really want to be grabbing? The answer is going to be an emphatic yes. Losing another one. Silas in here and ready to go now, and Amumu hitting him upside the head with the CC, just forcing them to all die.
But look at the base, look at the base!
And oh, the base, they're going in though. Orin in the TP. They gotta go fast. They gotta go now, and they are gonna be able to just get some solid lockdowns, but ooh, yes, there you go. Keep Vayne off of it. She's just got to hit it. But yeah, it looks like they are going to be able to lock her down just enough. But can you stop the minions? I think that, yeah, with that HP, you should be able to.
If you look at the base, that was a crazy base race.
God.
No TPs on the side of Oblivion eSports. So with the death timers being so high, again, no waves are pushing. So it's going to be incredibly unfortunate that that LiT is not going to be able to end the game here. But now it's come to a point of everyone's full build. No one's getting any stronger this game. So it's going to end up coming down to who is going to be the better team fighting composition with, Bardo support coming up right now, Kindred coming up right now, Heimerdinger coming up right now. I'd be shocked if it was anything more than just the inhib on the side of Oblivion here.
Yeah, unless there's a massive, massive misplay or they're able to catch him under the turrets, which honestly, they probably are not going to be able to do now. They're going to try and do it though. Bullet time once again, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be able to take these turrets. A lot of damage being done to Silas. Dies from the turret, but oh my god, they might be able to do it right here, right now. How do you like that, ladies and gentlemen? Ending things off out of nowhere. LiT eSports with 48 minutes exactly on the board are able to punch their ticket to playoffs.
And I'm not sure, after getting word from production, we'll have to see in regards to tie-breaking scenarios in regard to playoffs. But with that game, it was an absolute banger. 48 minutes of straight slobber knocking. So we'll get word on production to see if they are actually going to be moving forward to playoffs or not. There may have been a little bit of premature excitement there on the side of production there, but it is okay. As we're getting word here, it is quite the send off to have. It is a sad send off for LiT. They do have quite a banger of an ending there, as that is their last game. TIL do have the tiebreaker in that situation, so unfortunately, as we had stated before, it would have been false. That LiT is eliminated from playoff contention at this point. But what a game to end off of, to bring it back from that far down, to have the Silas ending up getting yourself through that game. the misfortune to get yourself through that game, the team fights that would have needed to be had. Imagine listening to those comms, having those team fights, coming back into the game, especially that last fight where you're essentially seconds away from Vayne and Vladimir ending that game to now, hey, we've wiped everybody. All right, let's push. Oh, they're respawning. Let's catch them underneath the tower and end the game in that regard. Just an absolute roller coaster of emotions, and what a way to send off your season.
Oh, sure. You gotta have some tea and honey. Like that game just sent
Yeah.
you off the charts. Yeah, that was an insane game. Kamaka, do you have anything to add to that excitement?
Well, I do want to point out a very interesting statistic, and that is that the losing team actually did an incredibly amount of more damage. Heimerdinger did like 75k damage, but still lost that game. It's just overall better macro play, in my opinion, coming out here from the side of LiT. Even though there was some great macro from Oblivion, just like the ability to team fight there towards the end, it's and the ability to know like, okay, let's just dive these guys at the end. They went for it, and I guess the risk paid off. I guess the risk paid off.
It was looking like before 30 minutes, and I actually recorded the time. So 30 minutes exactly. That's when LiT, I think, turned it around in the Dragon Pit. And then it kind of skyrocketed to 43 minutes. And I think that was the point when Kindred on OE stole stole the Elder. And then I was like, oh, I don't even know how the game's gonna go from here. But in the end, LiT just
Um,
rounded it up and just kept going.
yeah. Go ahead, Sherv. I think it's
Yeah,
your
and it's
turn to add
something
here.
where, the longer that this game went on, the Orin items were going to have their value, right? Orin items were
Yeah.
going to be upgraded. There was going to be extra gold that the viewers and ourselves couldn't see in the form of those upgraded stats. So LiT just needed to get to their power spikes. Hey, this is the ultimate, in solo queue, this might have been an FFF15, but in competitive play, you just say, you know what, guys, we scale. Don't worry about it. We scale. Unfortunately for OE, that's exactly what had happened. LiT got to their power spikes, played team fights just a little bit cleaner, and that was able to win them the series, but unfortunately not make playoffs.
Yeah, I just got word on that as well, is that they will not actually be making playoffs. Today I learned
Oh.
actually had the tiebreaker over them, so just barely. They, despite their best efforts and how flashy and amazing it was, it will not be paying off. I mean, hey, they leave us with something that we'll never forget. Honestly, I think that's one of the most amazing moments of the season, and they at least earn their spot in our memories, if not the playoffs.
Absolutely, and it's something where, out of the games that I've casted this year, this has definitely been one of the more entertaining ones, that's for sure. As well as the series back and forth, teams, winning and playing their compositions, the most unique champion compositions that we had seen almost this season with the Bard top and the Rammus support, Heimerdinger in both of the games as well. Pretty crazy to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, I thought LiT did really well. I know they're not going to playoffs, but they ended this very, very well. So congratulations to them on the great ending. And then also congratulations to Oblivion Esports for making it to the playoffs. Like well played for both teams. They were consistently always just fighting back and forth. It was extremely fun for me to watch. You can't really hear my mic obviously during cast, but I'm screaming.
Yeah, it was definitely an amazing set of games, and who knows what playoffs are going to bring, right? If this was the last week of the regular season, just imagine how many banger series we're going to get in playoffs, and you're definitely not going to want to miss that.
Yeah, yeah. Any last words before we end the stream today?
No last words for me. I'm all good.
All
Oh,
good?
just make sure that you tune in to the playoffs. Both all these teams are going to end up fighting it for the crown, and whoever's going to call themselves champions. It's going to be some banger series. We're going to see some absolutely Smurf picks, and it'll be interesting to evaluate those games and those teams. So make sure you don't miss it.
Yes. Please stay tuned. And thank you to all the viewers that have joined in today. Have a good start of the week. Bye
Bye, everyone.
everyone. Thank you,
Bye.
Kamaka. Thank you, Sherb. And thank you to Sindro for production.